Hello. It is such a joy to look out into this room and see a full crowd of especially students. So thank you all for joining us tonight. We have a lot to celebrate, so let's get started. I call the Tuesday, June 4th, 2024 Peninsula School District Board of Directors meeting to order. Will you all please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, is there any discussion on the agenda prior to the vote? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by Lori and seconded by Jennifer to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Agenda is approved. All right, let's move on to the celebrations this evening. We have one item that is not on the agenda, but we're going to start with recognizing some changes at two of our middle schools, Harbor Ridge Middle School and Kopachuk Middle School. So I'm going to let Superintendent Barr take it from here.
Yes, I am pleased and honored to invite Principal Scott Yingling of Harbor Ridge Middle School for 24-25 and Mr. Josh Emmons to come on up for Kopachuk Middle School 24-25 after a rigorous selection process. I know that they are very relieved and excited to be here. So, which one of you, rock, paper, scissors, would like to start? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you have to use the mic. Yes.
You can hold the mic.
You can hold it.
This is not difficult for you.
Hey. All right. Hello, everyone. Go Falcons. I could not be more excited to be the new principal at Harbor Ridge for next year. I get to be the assistant principal this year, and I have my beautiful family back there in the back row. Wave your hands, guys. Yay, family. And I'm very proud of the fact that my daughter is a junior at PHS. She's a Seahawk, and she just got done doing Freaky Friday, the musical. She's actively involved in the theater. And then my boy, Brixon, the Brick, he'll be a SEAL here next year. He'll be a kindergartner. So we live about 100 yards away, and I'm just invested in the community and absolutely love being here and cannot wait for the next 15 to 20 years to go by in the blink of an eye. And so I'm really proud. And we work together in South Kitsap, so we go back a ways too. Yeah. When I was getting my start, he let me shadow him and at Cedar Heights Junior High. So yeah. Anyways, but thank you all. Thank you, Creston, so much for this opportunity. And I want to give a huge shout out, and then I'm done talking, I promise, because I'm a theater major, so I could take this mic all night. Anybody want to talk? But I want to give a huge shout out to Brian Wickens, the current principal. Yes, huge round of applause. Brian's been at Harbor Ridge for 20 years, and I could not have asked for a better mentor and a better friend and a brother. And I love you to death, and I just want to hopefully just slightly fill the shoes that you've created. So thank you. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
All right, I should have remembered that I need to go before you rather than in front of you because of that. So I'm Josh Evans. I'm excited to be the new principal at Kopachuk Middle School. I spent the last 9 years at Paulsbo Middle School in Paulsbo as principal there, and I am extremely excited for this change. Peninsula School District has been a district that I have wanted to come to my whole career, and I'm finally there, and I'm super excited to be a coyote and be part of the team that is there at Kopachuk. I have with me my wife, Lindsay, and my daughter, Marissa, who is graduating from North Kitsap High School in 2 days. And then I also have a 14-year-old son who I asked if he wanted to come today, and he's like, no, I got other things to do. So, as most middle school students would say. So, just really excited for this opportunity and really excited to be part of the Peninsula community. So, thank you very much for this opportunity.
More thing. In addition, the assistant principal that will be at Harbor Ridge Middle School will be Abby Barabee, and she was unable to be here this evening, so when she comes, we'll let her get the mic as well. All right, thank you. Excited.
Okay, so moving on to item 4. On our agenda this evening, we are recognizing students who have received varsity letters in community service. So I would like to call Dan Gregory up to the podium to make that presentation for us. And there's room up front. If any of you who are in the back would like to maybe, you can come sit down here if you want to, or crowd around inside. Get real cozy. Yeah. It just takes one person to start, and you can grab a cupcake on your way if you want to.
Oh, is this what it is?
Well, there's a couple of chairs over here by the window, or if you want to, you can sit on the step if that's easier. There we go.
Well, thank you, Superintendent Barr, Board President Wimberly, and Board for allowing us some time to honor those students who this year have earned a varsity letter in community service. I think we set a record this year. I know we set a record this year. In past years, we've had 30, 40, 50, maybe as many as 60. Over the last few days, we've had some additional students turn in their paperwork. And we are going to read the names and honor 102 students in our high schools that earned varsity letters in community service. So as we get started, we'll start with just a slide that was a quote I saw at a community meeting not long ago. And I think it kind of captures the spirit from someone famous. Oh, I have the clicker up here, don't I, Tanya? I was just counting on you to do it. Let's see. Yeah, so the quote here is from Gandhi, and it says, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." And these 102 students, many of which we have here tonight, not all, really have exemplified that and really have dedicated their time and efforts to serving others. And I just am so thankful that this board and the school district has kept this tradition going. And when I talk about the tradition, we're going to talk about the history, just the brief history of varsity letters in community service within the Peninsula School District. The United Way of Tacoma Pierce County previously were the sponsors and awarded varsity letters in community service. They did that up until about 2016. And in 2016, they decided not to do that any longer. And we had a Peninsula School District student who was a varsity letter winner from the previous year. She approached the then board president for the Peninsula School District, that was Deborah Krishna Dawson, and said, "Hey, the United Way is not doing this anymore. Would the Peninsula School District come on board as the sponsor for the varsity letter in community service?" And Deb did a really nice job and said, "Go talk to Dan Gregory." So I got to meet with Carolyn Hoffman, who was a Gig Harbor student at the time, and we sat down in my office, and she said, "I really think we should do this as a district." And ever since then we have, and I believe this is our 8th year of doing varsity letters in community service. And again, the purpose is really to honor and recognize the commitment of our students that they have made to bettering their community through volunteerism. So these are just wonderful kids. Now, of those 102, so students, here's what we're going to ask you to do. If you believe, and I believe, I don't know if our stats are exactly right, but if this is your first year of earning a varsity letter in community service, not in any other sport, but if this is your first year of earning a varsity letter in community service, I'm going to ask the 62 of you who were first year ones to come up front and line up here. So you guys who just came and sat down, maybe just slide back a little bit. So first year people come up, line up front. So now, the students declared, I believe that they declared on the form whether this was their first year or not. I know we had some who said, "This is not my first year," but they were freshmen. So if I read your name and you're not up here, then you can run up here and go, "Oh, Mr. Gregory might have got it wrong," but he'll come up here anyway. Here's what we'd like you to do. We're not going to ask all 62 of you to give a speech. That would take a little too long. But when I read your name, if you will just, don't step off the edge on your back row, but if you would just step forward and kind of raise your hand and then turn around and raise your hand to the board too when we read your name so they know who you are as well. Oh, the board's going to come this way, so you guys all get to step forward and face this way. Okay, so again, when I read your name, you're going to step forward and wave so we know who you are, and maybe your parents can grab a picture of you while you're doing that. So, again, there's 62. There's going to be 2 slides here. Manil Agara. We don't have everybody, so we'll see what we end up with. Sophia Anderson. There you go. Troy Arnold. Anna Bartlett, Joseph Bartlett, Natalie Benke, Caden Campbell. There we go. Thank you, Caden. Maureen Caudill, Zoe Chavez Avalar, Angus Cuthbert, Finn DeGroot, Peyton Fredette, Cooper Giovannini. I saw Cooper back there. Cooper. Sarah Gore. Thank you, Sarah. Kala Hallmark. Peyton Heim. Layla Geneby. Olivia King. Oh, Olivia, you got to stand out a little more than that. Show us who you are. She's in the back row back there. John C. Lenker. Thank you, John C. Kate Lindfors. All right. Michael Massini, I know, is not here. He let me know he wouldn't be able to make it. Grace Miller. Jameson Nielsen. Connor Pavlik Brindle. All right, Connor. Ashlyn Pepich. Yeah. Kylie Pigot. Josh Riggs. Even Sebring. Cody Summers. And Noah Shipley. Okay, that's just the first slide. Again, 61. That was just the first slide. So as we continue, Riley Stapleton Long. Peyton Stapleton Long. Jacob Thomas. Lana Vincente. Olivia Wallace. Victoria Wallace. Anna Will. Laura Rolson. Laura's in the back. Layla Ziari. Amelia Bowman. All right, Amelia. Chloe Boyd. Ben Casely is not here tonight. He's got another event. Riley Ducharme. Benson Elton. Sydney Elton. Brendan Field. Anya Helgerson. Thank you, Anya. Kaylin Ianuma. Maya Kalahiki. Natalie Cole. Thank you, Natalie. Kai Cramp. Robbie LaQuay. Karis Lidstrom. Thank you, Karis. Sylvie Magnuson. Sylvie. Lauren Sievers. Justine Sorrells. I need to work on my reading. Thank you, Justine. Christopher Swainston. Madeline Thomas. Marisol Torres Alcantar. Abtahi Luipa. Annabella Roberts. And Samantha Shialaba. Now, if you were out there and you didn't get called, that means you must, did I not, is there anybody up here who I didn't call? Josie, what was your last name? I think we put you on the returning slide. Josie Crane. This was first years. Okay, we'll fix that, yeah. Okay, so these are first years other than one individual, Sophia Anderson, who is second year. So somehow we got you on the first year mark. Let's give this first year plus one group a nice round of applause. And thank you guys. You guys can sit down, and we're going to go on to the returning letter winners. When we sent out the notification email, we let students know, hey, we know it's a really busy time of year, and a number of them got back to us and said, hey, I've got a conflict. So we understand that we won't have everybody. In addition to the 61 first year letter winners, we have 40 who we believe are returning letter winners. If you have previously won a varsity letter for community service, would you please come up front and line up here? Yeah. I'll make you go first. So of those 40, we made Sophia come up twice. Sophia Anderson. You get a wave again, Sophia. Skylar Anderson. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Well, we'll read all the names, and we've got 7 or 8 that are here. Parker Bear. Thank you. Dominic Colombo. Josie, we had you for the second year, but thank you for coming up first year. Claire Cuthbert. Jack DeSimas. Lily Dunn. Sophia Frazier. Magdalene Jose Francis. Madison Gaffney. Catherine Harry. Luke Jollyboys. I knew Luke was there. Tate Kamaz. Morgan Kelly. Grace Ludlow. Lydia Magnuson. Thank you, Lydia. Caitlin McAllister. James McCourt. Abby Miller. Abigail Minner. And we did have to go do a second slide for this group also. Saskia Nemechek. Violet Novak. Olivia O'Berry. Abby Ray. Jerron Simler. Caitlin Summers. Serena Toms. Reed Veasley. Nicholas Bacon. Thank you, Nicholas. Emma Barnes. Ella Bossenbrock. Bella Gordon. Alec Krishnadasan. We've got 3 in a row. We're on a roll. Adam Massery. Peyton O'Brien. Peyton, were you supposed to be up there? Did we miss you? Oh, somebody turned your name in and said that you earned the hours. Violet Rolfs, Isabella Rosenberger, Hayden Scaduto, Dylan Shipman, and Isabella Vitorino. Did I miss anybody? I think we got all you guys that are up there. Thank you so much for your service for several years. You can have a seat. So as we wrap up this portion of the agenda, just one other very profound quote that we thought we would share, and that's from Dr. Martin Luther King. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? So for these 102 individuals, especially those that were here tonight, thank you for what you're doing for others and for your selflessness and your volunteerism. And we are just going to say congratulations to your award winners. I was not going to hand out 102 or even 52 letters and certificates tonight, because we'd be here a long time. Those will be delivered to your schools, and they will deliver them to you in your office here within the next week or so. And I believe, President Wimberly, did we want to get a picture with all of them up front
If we
here?
can try to squeeze everyone, we would love to.
One more
memorialize
time
this
for
moment.
both groups. Why don't you
Both
guys come up
groups.
front?
You're going to have to squeeze. Yeah.
Parents, feel free to come up and stand in the front and take a picture if you'd like as well. Pick a phone to look at. Thank you, students. Students and parents of our varsity letter award winners, we would love to have you stay for the remainder of the meeting, but we will understand if you choose to leave at this time.
Grab some food on the way out. We're going to give just a minute to let everyone kind of clear out. And there are plenty of seats open, so if anyone wants to come sit down, please make yourself comfortable. Yeah, students, have a seat if you want to. Get a mini bundt cake. All right. Okay, we are going to now, this is one of the most bittersweet meetings because we are recognizing our student school board representative. So this is an evening for us to really thank and send off our seniors who will be leaving us. And this year, it goes so fast. So this is a pretty new program for us, the way we've been doing it, trying to have a senior and a junior from each of the schools. So we think that it has gone so well. You have all represented your schools with such integrity and enthusiasm. It's been a joy to have you at all of the meetings. So tonight we are going to be farewelling Alec from Peninsula, and Ethan from Gig Harbor, and Amelia from our community transition program, and then Sarah from Henderson Bay, who's not able to be here with us tonight. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the impact that you've made, and all of you as well, feel free to join in. But I was speaking to one of your principals today, and Mr. Benoit, and he said he just really hopes that when you leave this place that you recognize the impact that you've had through this work. And I think Brent's here. Brent, can you wave for those who don't know you? So most of you know and adore Brent by now. He's one of our school safety officers, and this program really was developed out of conversations with our student reps. So the value that Moose and Brent and their team bring to the school district is, we just can't imagine how we survived without you. And the value you bring and the relationships you bring to the students, it came from your voice and from your sharing concerns about your own well-being and the well-being of your peers and students. So that is a huge impact. Also, cell phone policy, while I know not all of you love it, it was developed in tandem with our students out of recognition for what's best for our kids and what you want to see and what you want to graduate with and the people that you want to be. So you have made a profound and lasting impact through your advocacy on the school board. So we are so proud of you, and we will send you off with the best wishes and our deepest gratitude and our most sincere hope that you will come back and visit us. So I think if any of you want to say anything to the seniors, we will allow you to do so. If not, we will let you go on with the rest of the meeting, but then welcome our new members in as well. So any other thoughts?
I would just like to say that I think we started this program, Deb, maybe 7, 8 years ago, a while back. And it's just, we've learned so much from the student reps over all those years. Patrick found out our sinks didn't work in the hallway, and one of the toilets we've had very enlightening discussions with the student reps, sometimes very unvarnished comments, sometimes comical, responses and hold us accountable, and I appreciate that. And so we're going to miss this group. You guys asked, and ladies, asked very thoughtful questions. You answered questions honestly, which we appreciate, and we will definitely miss you, and hopefully you folks that are coming in for next year will be able to have the high bar. I mean, you have a high bar to fill from this group. They did an amazing job this year, so we look forward to the next crew coming in next year. So thanks.
I'll just say a quick thank you to our graduating seniors. Just simply put, you've made us a better board, and you've made this district a better district from your everything from your thoughtful reports to the questions you asked to your presence on Superintendent's Council. There's a lot of talk about this concept of student voice, but I don't know that without students feeling the agency that the adults are listening, that it really gets too far. And I hope you know that we have been listening, and we are very grateful for your voice. So thank you.
Well, I'd like to mimic the same thing and say thank you. When we first started this, I had some reservations. I was worried that the discussions would all be about broken toilets. It's been much more in-depth, and you guys have brought forth a lot of great information that has really benefited the school district and the future students. And I know when I was a senior in high school, I wouldn't have done this. And so I was too busy with everything else. So I thank you for making the time to be involved, to represent. Really appreciate it.
I'll just add the same thank you to our seniors and also to Sarah, who's not here tonight. Your reports were enlightening and actually the highlight of the meeting, I think. We would all agree. Because without you guys, we wouldn't know exactly what it's like, the student experience, and so we really appreciate you. It feels like we were just interviewing you recently, so it goes quickly, and so thanks again for all that you've brought to this board, and we'll miss you. Wish you well.
You are the reason we're here. And so, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm on TV. Scoot my chair back. Electrified feet.
Do you want to speak in the Lord's mic?
Yes, I think I should. You are the reason that we're here. And so for the many, many years that I've been an educator, I always know that if we bring students into the room and you have an opportunity and you feel like there's a connection with the grown-ups and you feel like what you say matters, you can change lives. So I hope that you know that once upon a time we were children too. We graduated as well. And even this evening, I had a conversation with a parent and a student, and they said, I want to be a superintendent. I said, well, come on in. Let's job shadow. Because I didn't know what a superintendent did. Logan, I understand that you're interested in finance. That's awesome. And so thinking about who you will become as leaders, you are already down that road, all of you, for stepping into something that most students, number one, don't know how to do, but number two, there's a light on you right now, right? Because you're representing people that are not here. So thank you for your hard work, and we are very honored. I am very honored to know you and to be able to work with you, and so excited about the next generation coming in. So thank you for everything, and have a good summer. And when we see you at graduation, you seniors, we're gonna fist bump because it's an exciting time. All right.
Well, right up after this is going to be your school board reports. So we would love to hear your thoughts, especially our departing seniors. If you have anything that you want to say, please feel free to include that in your reports. But I also want to recognize a few other people that we have here this evening. So we've gone through and completed interviews for our next year's junior reps. So these are sophomores now who are going to be rising juniors. So our current junior reps, Logan and Adam, they will be representing their schools next year, again up here. So they're not going anywhere, just taking a little summer break, and then they'll be joined by a couple other students. So also because of the great work you've done, your peers' eyes are on you as well as adults, and we've had some really amazing applicants to this program, and this is never an easy process when you see students who want to step up and take a leadership opportunity. We met with so many amazing young people this week who want to do what you're doing because they think that there's value in it and it makes a difference in the lives of our students and schools. So every single person that we've interviewed, we have found a place for them, whether it's here or on a superintendent advisory board. We've got facilities planning board. We sat with all of these kids and thought about where they would best plug in, and we've got some great things happening next year. But for this evening, I am very excited to introduce our next year's junior reps. And I'm going to have them come up and just introduce themselves real quickly. From Gig Harbor High School, we have Caitlin Latendris. From Peninsula High School, we have Kate Cardinal, and from Henderson Bay, we have Amelia Lindberg. Did I say that correctly? Lindberg, yes. Okay, so if you would like to just come up and introduce yourself, say just a few things about you, and that's it.
Hi, I'm Kate Cardinal. I'm from Peninsula. I'm really excited to be here and thankful for this opportunity. So, yeah.
And hi, I'm Caitlin Latendris from Gig Harbor High School, and I'm super excited to be your student representative from Gig Harbor High School next year.
Hi, I'm Amelia Lindberg. I'm from Henderson Bay High School. I'm actually a junior, going to be your senior representative next year, replacing Sarah. And I'm so excited. I love the community that Henderson Bay brings and the opportunities, and so I'm really excited to represent Henderson Bay High School.
And we have Amelia with us from Community Transition Program. She's going to be graduating and moving on this year as well, moving on to Northern Arizona University, as I understand, so exciting times for her. And we wanted to point out the cords. We decided as a board that you need to be recognized at graduation with a cord that signifies the work that you did here in your time with us. So we look forward to seeing those adorning your caps and gowns next week. All right, so we will now move on to our student reps. It's now your turn to speak.
Hi, my name is Ethan Schuett, and I'm the senior rep for Gig Harbor High School. And to start with some general information, PSD elementary schools invite graduating seniors to participate in a grad walk through their schools on Wednesday, June 12th at 2:30. Seniors will wear their cap and gowns and parade through the school. The goal of this event is to have the elementary schools see what hard work really pays off. On June 8th, the senior prom will be held at the Washington State History Museum in Tacoma. June 7th, we will have our yearbook distribution. On June 12th, graduation rehearsal will be held in the main gym at 10 a.m. Graduates will receive their graduation tickets and honor cords at rehearsal. And on June 13th will be our seniors' last day of school and a farewell assembly at the end of the day. And finally, on June 15th, our graduation ceremony is at 10 a.m. on Saturday, June 15th at Cheney Stadium.
Cool. I'm Logan Toms from the junior rep now, rising senior rep for next year from Gig Harbor High School. And For some other stuff we have, our schools are implementing Invest Ed, where you can donate money to like different student funds at Gig Harbor High School, which can help pay for things like AP exams, sports equipment, field trips, and different sports camps. So it's a really great opportunity. Also, the Gig Harbor High School boys basketball team is going to be holding a fundraiser at the Hub restaurant on Tuesday, June 25th from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. to just support the team and make sure they can keep running solid. Another thing with sports, we want to congratulate our track team for their hard work at state, and a massive shout out to the girls 4x4 relay team for winning the state title, which is just super impressive. For some of our clubs and activities, speech and debate will be headed to Iowa for the national tournament on June 15th. And our drama department just finished up their showing of Six the Musical after 3 successful performances, where they even sold out the last night, which was really exciting. And that was this past weekend. And for some things coming up, we have our Gig Harbor High School band, which will be holding their end-of-year jazz night tomorrow, the 5th, and our end-of-year wind band concert, which features the concert band, symphonic band, and wind symphony, the next day on the 6th in the auditorium, and I think it's 7 p.m. both nights. So that's a great opportunity to go to. And obviously, it's the end of the year. Everyone's trying to get out of here, but just quickly, I'd like to say it's been a really great opportunity this year, and I've definitely learned a lot, and it's been really exciting being involved in different policy decisions, making sure students are being representative, and just being able to see the amazing work that this district does. So yeah, that's it for Gig Harbor.
All right, good evening. My name is Alec Krishnadas, and I'm the senior representative for Peninsula High School. I'm going to start with my thank you. Thank you guys so much. It's been an awesome 2 years working with the student board rep. It's been so cool learning all the stuff that goes off in the district, budget stuff, even though it can be long sometimes. It's still a lot of fun to learn about all that stuff. So I really do appreciate the opportunity, and thank you to the board for having us here. It's really important to get that student opinion, so it's awesome to be here. At Peninsula High School, spring sports are wrapping up. Baseball went to state, and they got 8th place there, so they did a great job. We had a girls tennis duo go to state. That was Margot Mayer and Lindsay Kilcup. One player from boys golf went to state. He played his heart out. Electra Higgins placed 4th in state for the 3200. Emma Young placed 4th in state for the high jump. Grace Holtala got 6th in state for the javelin. Boys lacrosse went to playoffs, so just a lot of fun stuff for the spring sports. A lot of state championships, a lot of district championships, a lot of fun stuff. This summer there's a lot of camps going on, which are fundraisers for the sports, 1, and 2, it gets a lot of younger kids involved in activities starting at a younger age. There's a summer basketball camp from June 25th to the 27th and July 9th through the 11th, open to K through 2nd and 3rd through 8th grade. Track and field camp, there's 3rd through 8th grade on June 8th. Swim and dive camp, grades 4th through the 11th on June 8th, and a cheer clinic August 13th through the 15th, open to all grades. We have our Stafford Students basketball game coming up June 7th. I'll be playing it, hooping. We have a unified sports fundraiser at El Sombrero on the KP on June 5th. And that's all for sports for now. We'll see what happens. There's not much left in the school year. Upcoming events, we have our final assembly this Friday, June 7th, just kind of wrapping up the school year. PHS preview, which is our we have the middle schoolers come up, 8th graders that are incoming to Peninsula, come up and kind of get used to the culture of Peninsula High School. That's June 5th, so tomorrow. Graduation's coming up June 15th, Cheney Stadium. We also have our elementary walkthrough on June 12th, where we get to go back to our old elementary school and just walk through the halls, get to see all the small elementary schoolers, so it's cool. Last day of school for the seniors is June 13th, and everyone else, I think it's the 21st, right? Yep. Yeah, 21st. We had our ASB elections the other day. We have our new executives for next year. Taking over my position as Prez is Av Miranda. Vice President is Thomas Gillum. Treasurer is Olivia Griffin. Secretary Maddox Ice. And the Commissioner of the Senate is Mir Sunnan. So congratulations to all of them. That was awesome. Scholarship night went amazing. Another record broken for the amount of money donated. We had over $420,000 given out. Every student got a scholarship. Everybody got awarded one. And there was lots of amazing scholarships given out, and it was great to see how excited everyone was for each other. You can every scholarship that was announced, you could hear people cheering for them. So it was awesome. We had our prom this last Saturday. It was a lot of fun. It was at the LeMay Car Museum. We had our DJ out there, Mr. Miranda, mixing up some beats. So it was awesome. We had our Freaky Friday play as well, and it went great. Really cool to see all their hard work on stage. They put out amazing productions multiple times a year, but a lot of the times it's harder to make a profit for them because every single year they're having to rent out a lighting system for like over $20,000, which kind of sucks for them because, I mean, they put out great plays every year, so it'd be really awesome if they could also be raising money for their productions as well. We had our mock crash, and that's ran in tandem with Gig Harbor High School and Henderson Bay High School. It's an event meant to show the dangers of drunken, distracted driving. Ran smoothly, went very well, and it was very impactful for everyone that was there. We also had a powder puff game the other day. It was run by our POC club, People of Color Club. It went really well. I got to ref there. It was a lot of fun to see all the competition, and it's exciting to see new traditions starting at Peninsula High School. So yeah, that's all I got. Thank you. Yeah.
So I'm Adam Massery, and I'm going to be the senior rep for Peninsula High School. So I just kind of want to say thank you. I love coming to these meetings and being part of the school board. It's just genuinely been an amazing opportunity coming here and doing all these things with the school board and with my fellow refs. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And yeah, I'm looking forward to summer.
Good evening. I can't believe this is my last time reporting to the school board. I've enjoyed my time as CTP's student representative. I'm excited for the end of the year. I don't have a lot to share because we just met 2 weeks ago. Unified Track went to state and was able to win at Mount Tahoma with the state's best. It was an awesome experience. On Monday, we had a great trip to Point Defiance Zoo with Peninsula High School as one of our transition program activities. We were lucky and only got wet in one rain shower. Everyone had a good time. Last Friday, we had a kickball game at Seymour with Gig Harbor High School and University Place. The weather was perfect, and the competition was fun. CTP has 5 new students joining our program next year. 4 from Gig Harbor and 1 from PHS. This Friday we will go exploring the Penrose State Park and have a pizza lunch provided by Purdy Plumbing. We work for them during the year, and we want to say thank you during the year, and they want to thank us by buying us pizza. Thank you, Purdy Plumbing. Last week, we rode 3-wheel bikes with the Meadow Parks department at Samuel Park. Everyone loved riding these bikes, and we hope to make it a regular part of CTP next year. In July, 6 students will attend the extended school year program at CTP to help with the learning and future goals. As celebration and tradition, CTP has a breakfast at the original Pancake House on the last half day of school. We invite graduates and current students to join us. There is room for more if you'd like to join us. Thank you for the opportunity to let me share the CTP details with you.
All right, that was the last student report of the year. You guys, well done. Thank you very much. Okay, we are moving on to item 6, which is comments from the community. When addressing the board, please state your name at the podium and limit your remarks to 3 minutes or less based upon the number of citizens requesting to speak. We only have 2 this evening, so I will call you up. Please join us. Carol Rivera will be first, and after that is Sarah Garriott.
Hi there, Carol Rivera, Peninsula Education Association President. Just very nice to celebrate all our students tonight. I haven't been here a while, been taking some night classes. That's what teachers do. But I did want to go ahead and just share some of the things that we have been working on to support our school district in partnership to ensure that public education and staffing and those pieces are working and serving our students best. I wanted to thank the school district for the opportunity and partnership for our WA teacher residency program. If you're not familiar with that, we are the first teacher union in the nation to actually pilot and create a teacher preparation program so that teachers or aspiring teachers are working side by side with classroom mentors, specifically in our special education program. That is really kind of transformative because it gives us the opportunity to create relationship, to build skills, and to share what our teachers do best and with others. I think that wouldn't be possible without the partnership of the union and the district. And I think I just wanted to just express that that is really critical for those of us who are champions of public education. We continue to find ways to work with Superintendent Barr to identify common threads and to think about ways that we as a community, we as teachers, we as school board members really need to prioritize the things that will provide more funding for public education and our students' future. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Garriott. I wanted to report back that we had a fantastic event 2 weekends ago where we brought in Riley Gaines, a national speaker, and we had over 700 people in attendance. It was fantastically received by our community. We talked about Title IX changes from the Department of Education as a parent group. One day I hope that I can understand why parent groups are considered political by our district, whereas when the district goes to Olympia or has their day on the Hill, that's considered civic engagement. I want to primarily focus this evening on, however, the curriculum Wit and Wisdom, which our district has said that they want to pilot with our elementary schools this next year. A friend of mine who teaches special ed in a neighboring district said that Wit and Wisdom is incredibly difficult to modify. It is absolutely a horrible curriculum for anyone with learning differences. I can't tell you how exclusionary this curriculum is and how many accommodations I've had to invent to help students navigate this curriculum. Wit and Wisdom is a great way to reduce the number of students in general education, as students who were managing in the past to keep up because experts in instruction, also known as teachers, can modify, adapt, and teach what is needed. The rigidity of Wit and Wisdom will see more students excluded from general education as the demands and anxiety around the demands increase, and there will be more students identified with writing disabilities when the reality is the rigid curriculum is exclusionary. Another student went on to say that, who had experienced that for the last 4 years, she said that wit and wisdom for 8th graders, after 4 years of it, said, why, quote, why do they think the only way to do English language ELA is by exposure to trauma? And what does she mean by that? One school district in Tennessee is suing the Department of Education over their wit and wisdom for their elementary students. They said that wit and wisdom is replete with age-inappropriate materials which promote a skewed and racist view of history and portray one race as superior to another. They go on and say that it presents age-inappropriate material that causes children guilt, anguish, and other forms of psychological harm, and discusses the United States as an irredeemably racist country. It has discussions, horrific discussions with elementary students on war, misery, sexual aggression, and death. These are for kindergarten through 1st grade. One 6th grade, my teacher friend said, one 6th grade expectation, this is for 11-year-olds, has them write 5 paragraphs, 9 through 11 sentences, citing text evidence from a novel of poetry about a story of a teenage girl who accidentally kills her mother while babysitting. It goes on to say that the themes from this chapter, the organization Mom in Tennessee, they go on and say that it has themes such as, really tiny print here, suicide ideation from 1st grade all the way through, mean white people, extreme emotion, cannibalism in several different grades, anti-nuclear family. It goes on and talks about murder, etc. This is for elementary students. I can think of so many literary things, topics and books that are uplifting and positive and for our children. I would hope that you would reconsider even piloting this psychological trauma on our children. Thank you.
Okay, item 7 is consent agenda. Is there any discussion prior to the vote? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. So.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by David and seconded by Chuck to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. The consent agenda is approved. Okay, our reports for this evening. First up, we have our Peninsula School District Logo Design Challenge results. So Danielle Chastain is going to lead us through that. It's really exciting. Logan's going to feel better about fixing. What was the letter that was messed up? It's not up here now. We had one letter that was in a different font.
It's the S on the main screen, not.
Okay, again, something he pointed out.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Danielle Chastain. I'm the communications coordinator for the Peninsula School District. You may have seen me in your schools taking photos or video or just buzzing around. It's my favorite part of the job, honestly. So today we're talking about our new logo. We're going to preview it. We're officially launching our new brand and logo about mid-July, but we really wanted to show some of the great work that's come out of the student artwork and our logo committee. So our logo, our legacy. Why did we need a change? With our new strategic plan, with all the positive changes and progress made in the last few years at the district, we wanted to represent a new chapter for our ever-growing community. We wanted to create a sense of belonging among our students and families and our staff, and create a distinct identity that represented our large, diverse school community. With the encouragement of our district leaders, the board, and our community, we were able to create something we think will encompass our district's unique character and the positive impact our district has on all of us. And fun fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was told that our current logo was created over 20 years ago. So while I think there's probably some nostalgia around that, no. Thank you, see? Ah, okay. Thank you for correcting me on that. That was just what I heard. Our logo, our new logo, was inspired by our students. It was struck from the rich source of our students' creativity. We launched a logo design contest, inviting students at every level to share their creativity and vision. We were genuinely impressed by the thought displayed in each entry, so we harnessed that energy in their designs to build our new brand. And I just wanted to highlight our 3 winners. Oh, I have the clicker. That's right. I apologize. Ta-da. I want to say there were so many entries that were amazing, and it really, really was hard to pick just 3 winners. But if you are here, I would like to highlight Nora from Harbor Heights Elementary, Bryson from Key Peninsula Middle School and Peyton from Peninsula High School. Congratulations on being our 3 winners. After we had selected our 3 winners, we took it to the Logo Design Selection Committee. It was made up of 12 people, including school board members, principals, community leaders, students, and staff, and some family members. The committee selected the winning designs in January, and they voted on a final logo design in May. And we were happy that we partnered with ESD 112. Heidi Barnes was our graphic designer, and this gave us a chance to use a really professional graphic designer at a cost-friendly price. The vision. A logo is more than an image, it's a narrative. It tells the story of our school district's dedication to providing an inclusive, supportive, and enriching environment for every student. By visually uniting all of our schools under one emblem, we strengthen our community bonds and present a unified front that speaks to our collective goals and aspirations. And you might see the image of our Purity Bridge right there. That was part of our vision. And this is our new logo. Here's a few variations of the logo for different use, different spaces. We're really, really excited about this. There was a lot of variations made, a lot of back and forth with our committee and our graphic designer, but we were very happy with how this turned out. So our design elements and symbolism. Our new school district logo encapsulates the essence of our diverse and expansive peninsula landscape. It features a bridge with its arches mirroring the inlets and merging the individual attributes into a harmonious whole. Tranquil waters signify the flow of knowledge and growth, making it a powerful emblem of interconnectedness and unity. We were inspired by the Purdy Bridge, our inlets in the Puget Sound, and of course our lush landscape. This is our new color scheme. We really love the natural beauty of this color scheme. It comes straight from our environment. We're going to talk about that. So our comprehensive palette invokes the beauty of the Pacific Northwest, particularly the Puget Sound. Natural colors mirror the subtle nuances of how the light reflects on our landscape. Designed to invoke a sense of place and belonging, our palette is meant to resonate with students, staff, and the community. And as a gesture of respect towards the first peoples of this land, we've adopted a Coast Salish word from one of our blues. And I'm going to try my best to pronounce this correctly, Waluge. And it is a Salish term that not only captures the sound of the waves from the Puget Sound, but was the original Sioux word for Puget Sound. So modern and timeless, we believe that the logo balances contemporary aesthetics with timeless appeal, ensuring it remains relevant for years to come. Its clean lines and thoughtful composition convey professionalism while aligning with our district's vision for the future. Here's a few examples of use variations in places we're going to be seeing our logo, and it's different. We're excited. The first thing coming is our laptop sleeves. We were very excited to finally order those. We want to say thank you, obviously, to Nora, Bryson, and Peyton for their creative entries. Thank you to our selection committee for helping select the inspiring winners. Thank you to Heidi Barnes with ESD 112 for their amazing design work. And thank you for our community for inspiring us to create this change. I also want to give a shout out to Chris and Shayna. Shayna Nash is not here tonight. She is at Goodman's Greek night for her son, but she stepped in while I was on maternity leave, and her and Chris really rocked this project. So I appreciate them in my absence. So coming soon, we're going to have a new style guide and brand kit with the logos, the font, and the color palettes. We're going to have new PSD gear with new logo for our staff, families, and students. We're going to have new signs, new banners. Pretty much we're going to have new everything. It's going to be a transition because our logo is everywhere, but we're going to make it happen. And our very exciting update in July, we are planning to have an updated, refreshed website thanks to our partnership with Parent Square. That'll include our new logo, our new brand template. So, and we hope that it's going to be just a great change. Any questions? No? Yay!
Okay, next up, we've got our spring sports recap. So if I could pull, do we have our ADs here? Danielle and, okay. Oh, okay. We've got PHS and Gig Harbor in that order, so we'll go with PHS first.
Perfect. Good evening. Well, thank you so much for letting me step in. We have, as you know, a lot going on this evening. So we have people kind of everywhere. We have our Avid Senior Night and just some other things going on. So I'm here representing our student athletes this spring. Great representation. We asked them today to be here, so I'm very proud. Sometimes we procrastinate as adults too, so that's okay. So we were presenting on the spring report. We've had a great, I have the clicker. Spring season. You can see our numbers up there. As we talked about in the strategic plan, our goal is always sense of belonging, and a big part of that is participating and being out in our fields, being out in our pools, our courts. And so as we increase participants in our activities, we hope that kids feel like they belong, they're part of something, and they really truly feel like they're part of Peninsula High School. So our numbers continue to increase, and we just have a lot of hope because a lot of these numbers are underclassmen. So there are freshmen, sophomores, trying new things, trying new sports. And so we'll be hearing from some of these students tonight. So first up, we have Peninsula Unified Seahawks. So we have, this spring we had track and soccer running simultaneously. So I'm going to have them come up and get started.
Hi, I'm Sydney Nichols. I've been a part of Unified the past 2 years, and then these are both Amelia's from our team. Amelia, do you want to talk about soccer?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Our program grew from one soccer team to 2 soccer teams. So, and so this is a picture of when we were championship on the court.
And then also with soccer, we had the opportunity to play at the boys varsity home game this year, and during halftime we had a little showcase for everyone. Right?
Yeah.
Amelia, do you want to talk about track?
I'm Amelia, number 2. For Unified Track, we got to participate in both districts and state, and which we had at least, how many teams did we have?
3 teams.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you explain the relays. We had 3 relay teams, which included 2 people that didn't have a disability and 2 people with a disability. So it was like an on and off. It was every other one. We either had the person with the disability start and end, or we had them as the second and the third runner. Yeah.
And just shout out to state. You guys got to go all the way to state.
Yeah, we even got to go to state. Yeah.
Thank you guys. Okay, so yeah, like we said, track and field was the new addition, and they got to participate in state with just all their able-bodied peers and have that experience of being on a state Mount Tahoma, which is a big venue, and just rocked it. And shout out to Wendy and Jenny Buys for continuing to grow our unified program at Peninsula High School and within the district. All right, we got baseball.
Hi, I'm Matthew Sleater, and this is Matthew Saunders. And this year we were very successful. We tied for second in the league. We won the district championship, which is the first time in years, so it was really nice. Unfortunately, we lost 2-1 against West Seattle, but they ended up going to win the 3A state championship, so something good about that. And then first team, congratulations to these people. First team all conference. It was Pete Brown, John Brown, and then Matthew Saunders. And second team, myself, Matthew Sleater, and then honorable mentions is Michael Tays and Caleb Copeland. Yes.
Good job. Good job.
All right, do we have anybody here from boys golf? Oh, you know what you're saying?
I think so. I didn't get one of those printouts, but oh, sweet. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Mac Tovey. I'm a senior at Peninsula High School, and this was my first year playing golf. Overall, we took 4th in league and 3rd in the league tournament. We ended up competing at districts as a team, but didn't go as well as we planned. We did have one teammate make the state, and that was Luke Lipsy, so congrats to him. It was a really fun season. We were blessed with a lot of good weather, so it's always good, and thank you.
Hi, my name is Janelle Ramones. I just want to start off by saying it was a really good golf season for the girls, especially because we've had a lot of changes this year. We've had a change of coach. We've had a completely new team, and sad to say, but we only started off with 3 girls on the team, and that would be half of a golf team. But I do think that this new rebuilding year for the season it has created lots of opportunities for us to grow as players, to grow as a team, and we're very hopeful for more people to start joining the program, and we're very hopeful for new players, new opponents, obviously, and we want to go to state. We really do, and we want to make it as a team too. Congratulations to Ella Bouchard. We had one player make it to districts, and she was very successful in that.
Hello, my name is Daniel Holt. I was one of the captains for boys soccer. We made it to playoffs, unfortunately lost the first round in a very stormy game. We had 4 boys mentioned in SSC all team. Jackson Ray, first team, Daniel Holt, myself, second team, Nolan Ufens and Kyler Mofat were honorable mentions. This was a huge growth year for the team as we lost 10 seniors, I believe, last year. So almost an entire new lineup, and with a new coach as well who did wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Grace Holtzclaw. I was a part of the track and field team. So I'm a senior at Peninsula, and this is my 3rd year doing track. We had a great season this year. We had a new coach, a new head coach, and a bunch of new others that joined us. So the girls placed 2nd in our South Sound Conference, and the boys placed 6th. And we also had 37 boys, 60% of them were underclassmen, and 54 girls participate, 70% of which were underclassmen as well. So a lot of potential. And we had 6 South Sound Conference champions, 5 girls and 1 boy. We had 7 state qualifiers and 4 state placers. And we also had 2 school records broken, both by Electra Higgins in the 1600 and the 3200. So Emma Young, myself, Grace Holtzclaw, and Electra Higgins, we all medaled in state. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mira Sunnan, and this is Ava Miranda. We have both been on the fast pitch team for these last 3 years, and we'll be, of course, returning next year. Similarly to these other teams, we also are having a rebuilding year this year and next. We lost some influential seniors last year, which is hard to say goodbye, and 2 this year. But we've had a really strong rebuilding year. We have a lot of new players playing new positions, a lot of girls excited to learn. And here for our All-League.
So for our All-League first team, we had Malia Coit. All-League second team, we had Ava Miranda. And for All-League honorable mentions, we had Sophia Hooper and Mira Sunnan. And all of these upperclassmen had a great influence on our underclassmen, and they're all really involved in the school, so we've got a great environment going, and it's looking really good for next year. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Margot Mayer. I am a junior at PHS. I have been playing tennis all 3 years and longer before that. Luckily for tennis, it's kind of always a rebuilding year because once you get older, you get on varsity and then you leave. So this year we did really well. Since COVID, our numbers have kind of dropped down, but we are regaining that popularity. We managed to get 4th in league. We had, at the league tournament, our #1 singles player, McKenna Barrichter, win the entire thing. She played amazing. Me and my partner got 5th in the league tournament, unfortunately having to fight against our second doubles team for that last spot to get to districts. So it was a really good match. At districts, unfortunately, McKenna got knocked out, but me and my partner got 6th and qualified to go to state, and it was a really nice time there. We tried our hardest at state. We fought a good match, but we did lose. It was first round of elimination. And the girls we lost to ended up getting 3rd. But they were really nice players, and they definitely earned it. So yeah, we had a really good season this year. Thank you.
I was going to say, they had such a big team, they had to do rounds for practice. They couldn't all fit on the tennis courts. So team's growing, and kids are coming out even if they've never played, and feel like it's a really welcoming, inclusive environment for people to play. So shout out to the team and to the coaches. Water polo.
Hi, I'm Taylor. This is Molly. This year's polo season has been actually pretty good. We lost 6 starters to college this year, and so I was a little worried about how we were going to do. But we managed to get 9 new people to join, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is for us. Yeah, I was really proud of how many of you guys improved. We qualified for state as well, and we placed 9th altogether, which unfortunately was not enough to keep us in D1. But all in all, I think this season has been a pretty big success, and I can't wait to see how much better we get next year. Thank you.
I think we're going to defer our Riptides report to the Gig Harbor presentation, because I think we have some of our athletes here from that presentation. Yes? Yes. Well, you guys, we'll just wait till you guys present. You're good. Yeah, we'll wait on that one because we have a joint team, as you guys know. So kind of a cool collaboration between some really good athletes. So overall, we are super proud of our seasons. Of course, our motto here is students first, athletes second. So the classroom is always the important part. The academics are an important part, and athletes come second. So you can see some of our distinguished honors there with regards to the Scholastic Awards, outstanding for our teams, and the fact that they can do all these sports, practices every day, games on the weekends, plus homework, AP classes, all the things, and still represent our school well is the best part of this. And so we just continue to watch them flourish, and we're excited. As Alec mentioned earlier this evening, that what we're excited about is all these camps and these opportunities that we have coming up in the summer for our younger athletes, our future Seahawks. So almost every program has something that they're providing the youth in our community to get excited about some of these sports. We don't always have a club team that's local for a lot of these, and so do these types of camps expose student athletes to these sports and get them excited to play at the high school level. So with that, we are wrapping up. So if there's any questions.
Yeah.
Go Seahawks.
Go Seahawks. Good job. But can I ask, Danielle, can I ask if you stick around?
Hold on.
I just, either we'll get a picture right now with all of you guys, or we'll do it together with Gig Harbor if you can just hang on for a few minutes.
Seahawks just stay for just a little bit, and we'll do Gig Harbors, and we'll take a big joint photo at the end.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Love to call up Blair Sook for our Gig Harbor presentation.
Can we take this off? There we go. You guys can back up. We'll pass it along. Hi, I'm Blair. Good to see everybody. I'm super excited to brag about these kids. They did a great job this spring. So every single team in the spring earned WIA Team GPA awards, and they had a 3.713 average, which was really impressive. I think it was our highest. 37 all-league athletes, 4 league titles, some state titles. Everyone participated at state, and we had 390 participants. So it was a really good spring. These guys also just got 4th place in the Scholastic Cup for the WIA, which is combining team GPAs and state finishes. So that's a really big deal. And now I'm going to pass it off to Britta to talk about H2O.
My name is Britta Nelson, and I'm a member of the Gig Harbor High School dance team, H2O. We had a very successful season with our hard work and determination, working all year round. We were district champions in both hip hop and pom, and at state, pom placed second and hip hop won, all while maintaining a 3.666 GPA. Lainey Treadle won the Technique Award for All-State, and Kaylin Smith won the Hip Hop Award. Sophia Layer is committed to the SMU cheer squad.
Yes. And we're adding a dance category next year. We have, 25 signed up. Tryouts start tomorrow. So we're really growing the program, and Coach Steph is doing a really good job. Yeah.
I'm Courtney Myers. I've had the honor of playing with the team for the last 4 years. This past season was a growing season for us. We gained 12 freshmen, and last season we lost 8 or 9 seniors. So it was a big season, and we ended up playing with the top 10 teams in state. So it was a tough season for us. But we had 2 of us make All-League, which was me, Courtney Myers, and Katie Tibbetts, who's from Peninsula. We have a lot of freshmen that are going to continue the team next year, and even more coming in. And I'm continuing to play in college at University of Redlands, and I'm hoping to come back throughout the summers and coach for club teams and grow the sport even more. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Josie Crane. I will be captain next year for girls tennis. We had a great season this year. Our overall team GPA was around a 3.8. We were 5th in state for the team GPA, which is a great accomplishment. We also finished 2nd in state for the Southtown Conference. We sent 9 athletes to play at league, including myself and a lot of our other teammates. Lauren Pitt finished 3rd at the league tournament and 6th at districts. Avery Fowler and Abby Clark finished 5th at leagues, but unfortunately, Abby got sick before districts, so they could not finish out their season, but still had a great one overall. Thank you.
So, although I'm not a boys golf player, I will be talking on behalf of Chet West, who cannot make it today. But the boys had an incredible season, and a little special shout out to Theodore Snyder, as he will be playing in a qualifier for the U.S. Open, so it's very big news there. As well as a shout out for the boys winning both leagues and districts and being very, very close to a state title. But we all know that it will be hopefully coming again next year, so great job there for that season. Okay, this is the one for me. So, I am Sophia Scogan, and I am a sophomore at Gig Harbor High School, and this is my 2nd year playing on the varsity team. I've been playing golf for about 8 to 7 years on my own, but as a team, we were able to win both leagues and districts, coming from our 2nd place at districts last year, and a special shout out to Carly Ike for being our district champion. And we also had the opportunity to go to Hawaii in March to play in an invitational, and it was an absolute blast. Everybody had the greatest time, and we look forward to hopefully going again next year. Thank you for everyone who helped with our fundraising. And for rounding it out, we also competed at state, and we were back-to-back 4th place finishers, with Carly Ike being an 11th place finish overall. I'm looking forward to next season, and hopefully we'll climb up that ladder to maybe get that 2nd place, seeing as Bellevue's gonna be pretty hard to beat. But that's about all I have.
Fast pitch had some trainings going on. So girls fast pitch finished 3rd in the SSC, and then had some really big upsets at districts, finishing 3rd there. They went to state. We had a bunch of all-league athletes, and they just really grew the program, and having a team GPA of 3.468 was super impressive because they raised that, I think, 0.2 points from last year, which was one of their team goals. So we're super proud of them. And baseball also has training. Sorry about that. Their team GPA was a 3.454. They had a really great season. They tied with PHS for 2nd in league, and they played in the 1st round of the state tournament. Lost to Mercer Island. It was a heartbreaker, but they had a great year. We had a lot of all-league finishers, and we have 3 athletes, Josh Dunham, Rylan Heckman, and Tristan Schaefer, committed to play at community colleges next year. So we're really excited for them. And now water polo.
Hi, my name is Delaney. This is my third year as varsity on the team. As a team, we had a 3.7 GPA, which is pretty good. We finished third in Division I water polo, which water polo is set up a little bit differently than other WIA sports. Division I is your highest level of water polo in the state, and so we basically finished third in state, which is pretty cool. And then we had multiple all-league athletes, including Frances Benson, and Kaya Sawyer, Alexis Tujo, Bridget Oates. And then we have a lot of college commits as well on our team. We have Alexis Tujo, who's committed to the Virginia Military Academy, which is a D1 school for water polo. And then we have Frances as well, who's committed to play at FPU, which is a D2 in California. And California water polo is crazy. So D2 California, very good. But yeah, it was a really fun season, and it was a great year for us. We've kind of had we've been rebuilding since the pandemic, and this was a really big year for us. And we improved on our fifth place finish last year, and so it was just all around a really good year. Thank you.
Tyler's sick, but boys soccer finished impressively second state for Team GPA with a 3.759. They had a really great season, placing second in the SSC and finishing tied for third at the district tournament, losing in PKs, which was a heartbreaker, but they had a great district tournament. They finished in the second round of state to the eventual state champion, so that was really a tough way to exit, but kind of you can pat yourself on the back when you lose to the state champion. And then we had Tyler Dole as the league MVP, Caleb Gilbert, Ethan Shute, Henry Blake first team, Jack Lernan second team, Lucas Maharia, Ian Stewart honorable mention. And then Caleb had his signing day for SMU in Minnesota today, so we're really excited for him. And we got track.
Yeah, I'm obviously not on the girls track team, but they had an outstanding season. I believe they won the state award for their team GPA, and they also won their 4x4 relay, won state, which was a crazy upset. I mean, I don't think anybody saw that coming, so that was insane. They got first at league as a team, and then third, I believe, at district. Sorry, second at district, and yeah, is that about it? Yeah. Anyways, they had a great season, and yeah, I didn't think they expected to be this strong, but they had an outstanding season, and a lot of freshmen what was I trying to say? Stepped up. Thank you, and yeah, performed really well. And then yeah, on to the boys track. We had team GPA of 3.6, and we finished third in state for team GPA. We finished first in league and district as a team. I won district in the 1600 and league as well in the 1600 and 800, and my teammate Preston won the 3200 in league and district as well, and the 4x4 men's relay also won at district. The boys team finished 9th as a team, and I had a second place finish in the 800 meter, and I also placed 6th in the 1600 meter, and then my teammate Preston, he also finished, I believe it was 5th in the 3200, so he had a really good race as well, and because he wasn't even seated in the top 10, so he had like an 11-second PR, which is crazy. And then yeah, I'll be going on to run at the University of Michigan, and yeah, I think two of my teammates are also running in college, so yeah.
All right. So here's our current list of college-bound student athletes. I think we have 21 because I don't think they actually fit on the screen right now. But I am missing some of those track kids, so I'm going to kind of talk to Igor tomorrow and get a couple more signing days going. But we're really excited. We have a lot of sports represented. We have cheer, dance, football, basketball, lacrosse, cross country, triathlon, kind of just everything. So we're really proud of our kids for committing to play collegiate sports and go on to the next level. Thank you.
We're going to call you up for a picture in a second, but Miss O'Leary, did you have anyone from Riptides? I know you had a slide. Do you want to have that person speak?
I think we had the same slides.
Same slide. Got it.
Yeah.
Same coach.
Yep.
So they,
All right. Well, before we call you up for a picture, I just want to say, so well done. I say this each year at the end, or we all do at the end of the sports seasons. this is outstanding, the work that you do, the leaders that you are in your schools. It is such a privilege for us and a joy for us to see you go out there and work as hard as you do and to be earning these awards. That's icing on the cake, but really the cake itself it's you as a student group and the friendships that you make and the hard work that you put into these sports and these activities and your GPAs. You are really just everything that we hope for our kids, and the way that you support each other. It's really outstanding, and it just reminds me of why we all do what we do. It's just amazing to see you guys shine this way, and you are outstanding students, outstanding athletes, and outstanding leaders in your school. So well done, and congratulations to all of you. All right, both schools up. Let's grab a picture real quick.
Good job, guys.
Wait, did you get...
Come back next year for swim and polo. I got you. We'll have Caitlin join you. Yeah. We had a couple have to go.
We go off there?
All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break and let everyone kind of clear out, and we'll reset.
Good job.
Sorry, that was meant with the most, in the most sincere, endearing.
Very happy to announce that this evening at Penmet, they are also having their board meeting, and they are bringing forward to their board an MOU as well to have a joint use interlocal agreement. I have to tell you, when I first came here as a superintendent, I was very excited. I just made the assumption that we had partnered with our local parks department. When I was in Tacoma for 28 years, I had a very close relationship when I was areas over in Tacoma and talking to Metro Parks. So this has been this is the end of a 3-year real relationship of exploring and having conversations about what would be wonderful for our students here in Peninsula School District and what could we create together. And so what you have in front of you this evening, and I'm just going to read some of it, the Peninsula School District and the Peninsula Metropolitan Park District are cooperatively, we have developed an interlocal agreement, which both boards of directors hopefully will take into consideration this evening. This partnership will allow our school district and Penmet Parks to work jointly together to increase the community use and development of our local facilities and our open spaces. Both of our agencies will be able to provide more cost-effective educational and recreation programs by maximizing the public's utilization of the facilities and improving our efficiencies. This partnership also advances.
This is not working. Oh, okay. It's green, but it's not humming. All right. This partnership will also advance our shared goals and our strategic direction. And when we met in December, we really talked about what our shared goals were. And they are really goals related to community recreation and education, being inclusive and accessible to the public, beyond the school bell and in the summer, promoting the health and general welfare of our community, enhancing educational and recreation opportunities afforded to children and families, and cooperating and coordinating with our other governmental agencies to innovatively deliver services for our community in the most cost-effective manner possible. And it opens the door for a shared opportunity for us to go after some grants. And so we have been working behind the scenes together. And I really feel strongly, even though this is my quote and I'm going to read it, but I feel really strongly that our students and our families win when we form strong community partnerships. And that has been a stalwart of what I believe deeply. And like I said, during the time in Tacoma Public Schools, we always worked really closely with the parks. Because one thing that's really important to note is that we are educational experts. We have amazing facilities, as you see in here, but what we don't have is we don't have extra staff to run programs after the bell or, before or after school. We don't have the manpower, and we also don't have the funding. And so I'm looking forward to forming a successful partnership with Penmet Parks and potentially our other park programs, or city, or whoever would like to come to the table to enhance our educational and recreation opportunities. So with that, I also wanted to mention some examples for additional programming considerations are things such as after-school youth sports, outdoor education, swim lessons, and aquatic recreation, camps, and programs after school during breaks and in the summer. We know that our 2023 State of Play report for the Tacoma-Pierce County revealed that only 26% of our youth in Peninsula School District area meet the CDC's recommendation of 60 minutes of daily physical activities. And so this partnership will really create more access to recreation and physical activity opportunities. And I've been told from several people that when Penmet posts their schedules, that people are just clamoring. They're just trying to get on and trying to get on and trying to get their children. And so to cast a wider net and have our facilities used jointly will be an opportunity. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's the background. There will be FAQs available as well, and that's what I have this evening.
Are we allowed to have FAQs tonight?
Certainly.
Ask questions, yeah, this is a presentation.
I know that we've had conversations about this over the years, and as far as who will handle the schedules. And so if folks want to use our fields after hours when our sports teams aren't using it, or our school district students are not using it, and Penmet Parks want to utilize our facilities, do they go through our school district to book them? They're not going to have, they don't book them themselves, right? They have to go through us, and we have to go through them, is right?
Right. Is Chris here? Chris, do you want to come up?
And then follow-up question as far as maintenance and stuff like that. If they use our facilities, we use our maintenance, and they use our maintenance, correct?
Those are great questions.
Okay.
All right, Chris, come on up. One thing I can say is that this does not mean that other entities cannot use our facilities. What it does is that Penmet programs come to the very first and foremost and have, so of course our schools have first ability to schedule, and then that second layer would be our premier Penmet Parks. And then, so Chris?
Yeah, so we've actually been working with Penmet for 9 months, a year. Dan's been there. I was looking back at him. And we actually have a form that the community groups go to, like, for example, Harbor Soccer, if they want to do fields. They go on there, and it's a joint Peninsula and Penmet form that we've been doing for quite a while. And then if you want, you know, the turf field at Harbor Ridge, you choose the turf field at Harbor Ridge. That goes to us, and we get that reservation. If it's, you know, Zamel, then that reservation goes to Penmet. And so we're going to work, part of this agreement and part of this is to set up a better, more interoperable system so that the community can just go in and reserve what they need when it's not being used by either one of us, and we'll collaborate on that so that it's one place for everybody.
Can you, when it talks about third party usage, can you explain what third party is? Would Harbor Soccer be a third party, or would they? I
believe so.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so we would go first, same old, Penmet, Harbor Soccer.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And- Okay.
Yep.
How's that going over?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't been involved in those conversations. But, yeah.
Well, what I can say is there will be no immediate changes to the reservation process. Our plan, however, the partnership agreement mutually prioritizes both PST and Penmet Parks. So right now, nothing really will be different.
No, for right off the bat, nothing's going to change. It actually opens up more possibilities for some of those groups because they can then, in one place, because typically what happens is everybody sits down after they put all their requests in, and you kind of barter and trade and say, I'll take this field if you'll take this one. I mean, they do that as a group, and now we can pool everything together and just be able to, the groups can go in and say, you know, I'm going to take this field here, I'll take it this day, and you can have this one. So, and then it's just the resources between both of us to be able to allow that.
One of the differences that I would say is that this does include joint use of PSD swimming pools. Currently, that is not occurring. And I know that Penmet currently doesn't have programming in pools at this time, but it does open the door for, if they were to, being able to do that as well.
Correct.
Would, currently there's
time bounds, right, around community use of fields and things. I'm just wondering if it seems like there's often, particularly the elementary schools, a lag in between about 3:30 and then you don't see the community use kind of roll in here till around 4:35. To me, that is a prime time if we had a partner like Penmet to be able to slide in with some of their programming, which then the cascade effect is opening up later slots for all of the community groups. Is that part of the plan, I hope?
All of those things will be on the table for us to have conversations about.
Okay.
And I know that we have had just nominal conversations after, or if both boards do approve this MOU, then we will be able to have conversations. That also will be of the work of our new director of athletics,
I was
activities,
just going to say,
and the
Ashley
arts.
and I are meeting with her on Thursday morning to start going
Yes.
through some of these details. So
Right,
when Wendy
right.
gets here.
And
Yeah.
so remember that scheduling will be going through that office and centralized, and so that will be something that Wendy will be deeply involved in as well.
Question too, how does this, we have, I think probably what's different here than, say, Tacoma is we overlap 3 parks districts. So how does that work? Is this, I'm assuming this is for all of the schools, but then Penmet doesn't actually have jurisdiction over all of our schools. And so, and then also, how
currently,
does it
yes.
work?
So that it will affect where Penmet does have jurisdiction. I'm glad that you just put that out there. We really had some conversations about where do we start, and so this is where we start. This is not where we want to end, and so we are very invitational at this time. Thinking of Key Pen, thinking of the city, having conversations because we do have 17 sites, and we want our community and our families to be able to have full access. So more to come. This is a start.
Have we done anything similar with Key Peninsula Park?
This is the very first one, so this would be something that we wanted to do one well, and then we are more than willing. So my door is open.
Can I make a comment? So as we move forward, we have to recognize Penmet Parks and Key Pen Parks, the disparity between the two. With all the commercial development here, the Parks District is funded through property taxes. So with all the commercial, they have more funding available. And as long as Pierce County will not allow the Key Peninsula to have commercial, then Key Peninsula is not gonna have the funds proportionately that Penmet would have. Because the people from the Key Peninsula are forced to drive over here for all their commercial because Pierce County won't allow it. So that creates a disparity with the parks. So I fear that they're not gonna have the personnel or the funding to match what we get here with Penmet. So I just want, as you move forward, to keep that in mind, that there will be that issue.
So Chuck, here's how I would love to answer that. We have 17 sites. We have 4 on the Key Peninsula.
Right.
And we have jurisdiction over those 4. And so what could we do together? What could it look like?
Yeah.
I think is really exciting. So we are more than willing to create something that maybe hasn't been created before. We know that we have fields and we have facilities, and we heat them and we light them and we keep them up. And so our families deserve to be able to have access from our facilities. That's all I can speak to. I can't speak to Pierce County.
Right, right.
So I am more than willing to come to the table and be as creative. And I do believe that Penmet would also be as creative. And I know that Key Penn as partners. We've talked about it, and so I know it's just a matter of a phone call, and let's get something started.
Yeah.
Okay, under old business tonight, we've got the second read and adoption of our board operating protocols. Is there any discussion prior to the vote?
I'll just make a quick comment. I just, having, spent some time in these and looking at other districts that have similar type of protocols and many that don't, it just kind of does remind me that we, in a way, sort of planning for a time and a place where we may not have the cohesiveness. I think that, for the last couple of years, our board has been able to maintain. So I like that we're drafting this from a position of we're in a good place and not as a reactive type of document. And I think it's, I like that it's voluntary. It's something that we agree to as professionals out of, respect for each other and for our relationship as a governing body, not as individuals. So I appreciate that we're all interested in making this happen.
All right, is there a motion to approve the board operating protocol?
I move to approve the board operating protocol.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by Lori and seconded by Jennifer to approve the board operating protocol. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion is carried. The board operating protocol has been approved, and thank you, Jennifer, for all the time that you put into that, crafting the language and really being intentional about exactly what you just said. It's for posterity as well as for our own standards. Okay, item 10.1 under new business is the secondary ELA curriculum adoption, our first reading, and we have James Cantonwine here. This looks like John Yellowlees. Who else is going to get up? We've got our great team here to present.
Okay, good evening, Board of Directors, Superintendent Barr, and our remaining student reps. Thank you for your time this evening. We are here to present a first read of our high school ELA adoption recommendation to the board. So a brief summary here of what we'll cover this evening. We're going to review the adoption process in its entirety, a summary of our family and community input, overview the Odell High School Literacy Program, and talk about some cost comparisons of that program to our current program that we have in place at this time. So this slide in front of you right now should be somewhat familiar. We've shown this a few times this year, and this is an overview of our adoption process for core materials and core curriculum, and we'll follow this process for any curriculum, ELA, math, social studies, and so on, any curriculum that is a core adoption. So over the past school year, our high school adoption committee has worked through the first 4 steps of the flowchart that you see there. So they've gone through the research, the rubric screening, the classroom pilot, and the committee decision process over the last 7 or 8 months. Last week, the team brought their recommendation of their preferred selected curriculum from that piloting process to the IMC, the Instructional Materials Committee. I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. So we're currently at step 6 in the process, school board adoption. And there's an arrow that popped up right there that said we're at step 6 in the process. So. Okay, so for the IMC review, as I said, we met last week on May 30th as an Instructional Materials Committee. And we heard a presentation from the High School ELA Adoption Committee. And all members of the IMC were present. And we had a process where we reviewed the purpose of the IMC, talked about what our purpose for that meeting was and what our goal and responsibilities were. And after we kind of did that, it's a new team per the new procedure that was revised by the board, Policy and Procedure 2020, back in, I think it was December or January. So we'd formed a new team, had representation from teachers, parents, administrators, all of the criteria and the procedure were met. So we really listened to the adoption committee, and they talked through the process that they followed throughout the course of the school year. So from the research through the piloting, and what we were looking for as we met as an IMC was the expectation that parents, communities, families, student voice were considered throughout the process. In the procedure, there are 8 criteria. We were auditing and reviewing if the adoption committee had followed those 8 criteria and satisfied those 8 criteria in the policy and procedure. So after that process, the adoption committee left. We voted as an IMC and unanimously voted to move this recommendation onto the school board for consideration. So James is going to speak about this. I'll just mention that I think we've talked about this before with the board, but this occurred over the course of 1 year. That's unusual. Typically, these adoption processes take about 2 years. This was expedited, and the timeline was compressed due to the fact that our current high school ELA curriculum springboard is going away. The publisher is canceling that as of this year, and we found that out. That was in the fall? Yeah, second half of September. So the committee really worked hard to go through all of those steps with integrity and with fidelity over the course of the last school year. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to James Cantonwine and Eileen O'Sara to talk a little bit about the process that they went through in selecting this program.
When your curriculum vendor emails that they have a time-sensitive phone call that they need to have with you, like, this is not good. So late September, get this call that, okay, yeah, the product's going away at the end of the year. We communicated that normally we would go through a process of about 18 months to adopt a new curriculum. This wasn't that amount of time. The rep understood and said that her bosses didn't understand that particular part. So as you look at that flow chart, the research stage of, do we need to get a new curriculum adoption? That was a pretty easy question to answer, right? The curriculum was going away, that we've been using Springboard for quite some time. Really one of the first districts in the state or anywhere to have moved towards Springboard. A lot of districts in our state are in the same boat of trying to get a new high school ELA curriculum. After some screening, and we'll talk about a couple of products in a moment here, after some screening, we ended up piloting 2 different products in 10 classrooms. So representing both Gig Harbor and Peninsula as comprehensive high schools, and in grades 9, 10, and 11. We also had a few teachers kind of outside of those 10 that were able to communicate with families in their classrooms and pilot one of the products, but really kind of focused on, for the committee, the folks who were able to pilot both products. As part of the process, we really reviewed the science of reading and the literacy guiding principles that came from our district's literacy task force. Although the focus there was really elementary, the science of reading applies to all grades, and so it was important for our high school teachers to kind of understand where their work fits into that broader research. We went through a product screening of those products for both the alignment with the standards and some bias screening that's required by the state, where we're looking at, is there a breadth of representation in the readings that students are doing, and then really using the review of teachers and their pilot experience, and then looking at family and student input to kind of make that ultimate decision. We had, and I'll show you some specifics in a moment here, but 209 families responded that they had a high school student and then gave us some input. That's much better than we've had in terms of high school responses from families in the past. We also had 453 responses from students. Many of them would have responded for both products because they had a chance to give input on both of those. And then that consensus process that we used, that's a process we use that's different from voting. Everyone gets a chance to do a thumbs up, thumbs sideways, or a thumbs down. If there's a thumbs down, that means the staff member doesn't agree with the decision and they don't feel like they've been heard. A thumbs sideways means they're not sure they agree, but they feel like they've been heard. And then the thumbs up, they agree with the decision. After our work together, we ended up with all 10 teachers at the thumbs up stage, which is great. But we don't move forward if we have anybody who's at the thumbs down. I'm going to ask Eileen to come up and talk about our two products that we piloted. So we had our Gig Harbor department head kind of represent the product at IMC, and so now we've got our Peninsula department head representing the school board.
Hi, I'm Eileen O'Sara from Peninsula High School. I teach 9th grade currently, just to give a little background, but I've taught 9 through 12 at Peninsula since I started about 5 years ago. Start with my perspectives. It is a bells and whistles, digital flashing light at you kind of is how I would describe it. And I think we were all kind of wowed when we first saw it, in the sense that it worked well with Schoology. It is very digital forward facing. And it had, I think we were a little bit more comfortable initially because it looked and felt a lot like Springboard, and so many of us have been around Springboard for so long. It was very small reading excerpts. Each year consisted of maybe one longer text. It was usually a play, and it didn't incorporate any novels or longer text in any of the units. It was 4 units for each grade level and no variation from those 4 units. So we saw it as something that was a little bit more rigid, and a lot of the excerpts were a little outdated as we kind of dug in a little bit deeper and we're actually going through and reading them. When we looked at the Odell one, it offers an essential question and theme for every grade level. And so we found that these, as we brought the curriculums into our classrooms, we found that these themes really started to entice children to have the discussions and to make kind of real life connections and connections within outside of the classroom. So in 9th grade, it's Who Changes the World. And so just being able to read books that have to do with that, it still has the excerpts, but it incorporates long text, and there's choices within each unit or within each year. So there's a foundational unit that covers the theme that we would all start in the fall to introduce our students to. So we just thought how cool that would be. The foundational unit is just that, is the foundation. It cannot be taught necessarily out of order. So every kid throughout the district walking into a 9th grade English class at Gig Harbor, at Peninsula, honors or not, will be asked the same foundational question. Because there are then anywhere from 4 to 8, we'll call them kind of center units. It allows, like our English honors 9 courses, to look and have access to additional units that might be more challenging. It also allows us to make adjustments year to year. If something doesn't work, we don't have to wait for the people that be at the curriculum to make those changes. We could work with Gig Harbor and make those decisions together. And then every unit, every year, the last unit is kind of a reflective research unit over connecting back to that foundational question. So for 4 years, a student that takes English 9, English 10, English 11, English 12, if they just go through kind of the standard pacing of English, they will start with an essential question and they will end kind of researching and reflecting on that same essential question. And kind of that pattern of learning, I think, will be kind of uniting within buildings, and then with us working with, or closely with, Gig Harbor also. Like I said, Odell also has about 2 to 4 novel units each year that we can select from. And so we looked at these novel units as allowing us to offer students more choice. When we were looking at student data and parent data, they want books in hands and they want to get off of their Chromebooks. And so we just saw that Odell teachers are accessing it through an online database, but it isn't quite so. Not every lesson is submitted through some sort of online platform. And so we just saw it as being a little bit more flexible to get kids off their Chromebooks, get them into physical books. And personally, this is just kind of what the committee discussed. When we are able to read a text as a whole in a group, a student who is struggling and doesn't want to necessarily say that they are struggling, hearing the class conversations and being able to talk then maybe in smaller groups, they intake a lot of information that they won't get necessarily. If a student is absent 1 or 2, 3 times, and they miss multiple of those small excerpt days, they've now have to catch up on 2 or 3 readings all by themselves. When you're in those larger texts, if they've missed a day, half the time the conversation when they return kind of gets them caught up without them necessarily having to read independently, because that doesn't always happen. So that's my comparison. I'll be back.
Thanks, Eileen. So in terms of the family input that we looked at, again, the 209 responses from high school families, and really some themes that emerged from that was a desire to have some more emphasis on writing instructions specifically. That's also connects really nicely with a lot of what we're seeing from the science of reading and how that research plays out at the secondary level, and that emphasis really needs to start becoming on writing as a way that students are making sense of what they're reading. Another theme that emerged from the family input was the desire to have students get exposure to a broad range of different perspectives, and then to have that connect to student interests. As you might imagine, we got a lot of different input from parents, so there was definitely a desire for a mix of both print and digital. So we didn't have people saying, completely throw the Chromebooks away, but there was a certain sense of we need to get back to some amount of print. Similarly, a desire that we have both classical and contemporary texts. What are some things that are modern and interesting? What are also some things that are classic and have withstood the test of time? I put a link in there to, it was kind of early in our process working through some of the more sophisticated features in ChatGPT. And so we had the AI also give us a summary. Teachers were able to look at both the AI summary and, kind of read those for themselves, because there's always, some nuance that maybe you think, okay, I wonder what they really meant by this. And maybe the robot didn't quite understand that in the way that I understand that. Yeah.
I know this question may be more applied to elementary reading, like Jennifer been working on with the literacy task force, but I know I personally don't like reading books on the computer. I think some people are fine doing Kindle, but I absolutely prefer to have a book in my hand. That's just how I love to read that way. Is there any science behind, is it easier or you retain what you read, working, holding a book and the sensory of holding, maybe I'm overthinking this, versus just reading it on a Chromebook? Like I've been in college classes before where they're like using a Chromebook and I'm looking at my textbook and they're on page 98 and I'm on page 60 or something. They don't match up. And I'm just, is there any research around that?
There is. The short version is it's mixed, but leaning a little bit in the direction of paper as a way of students receiving the information, and then things get really mixed about should students be handwriting or typing. Really depends on the purpose, less than just one mode winning out over the other.
And the second follow-up is that maybe to me it seems like if students are touching a piece of paper with a pen or pencil to write words out versus typing, isn't there more sensory data for the brain around that as well, that we need to encourage kids to be writing versus typing?
Yeah, and so that's a great example of where the mode seems to matter in terms of what the learning purpose is. Handwriting notes is associated with better recall later. Absolutely. At the same time, if the student is then trying to generate a piece of writing that's going to be a product, right, an essay, for example, many students will perform better in doing that in a typed setting because they're able to, in a lot of cases, type more quickly or with less fatigue, and then they're able to type at the speed they're thinking as opposed to writing, where most of our students are going to write slower than what they're thinking. And so that there's a little bit of a discrepancy there, and there's time for both of those.
Maybe that's more effective maybe for younger readers than
Yeah.
high school kids.
Yeah. So one of the things, just to kind of illustrate what we saw from families, 203 specifically responded to this one. We didn't require that they respond to each question, of course. We asked them again, what types of text does your student enjoy most? You can see that we got a lot in there about novels, this idea of whole texts. This is something just recently, let's see, on yesterday, Natalie Wexler, who's a kind of a writing person out there in terms of the science of reading work, has a lot in there about reacting to products like Springboard or My Perspectives that are really excerpt focused. Our colleges are reporting that student stamina with long pieces of text has really declined at the college level. They don't have great data on that. These are a series of anecdotes that they have, but really thinking about, we're seeing more districts and more communities kind of pushing back on this idea that perhaps we need to go back to reading more of those whole texts and not so much dependence on the short form. But then definitely some interest in a wide range of pieces. So the idea of visual text, thinking about text as film, poetry, not a whole lot of folks with that one. I was a little surprised at that. I thought they'd be a little higher there. And so Eileen was up earlier and was explaining that idea of the course flow of having that foundation unit that establishes a question, 3 to 4 development units. So there are more of those development units than we could fit into a course, and that's by design. Every year they produce more of those. We could either kind of join into those new units or not, because again, we've got more to work with than what we could fit in. This is an open education resource, or an OER. So the Odell Literacy Foundation, they develop the teacher content and the student activities. These are free. They're freely available. Anybody can go on and see the full curriculum available in PDF form. We can also buy it in print form. Many of our teachers like to also have print copies for reasons kind of like you were just saying, David. So the costs associated with this are for the print materials, including the novels, the biographies, the nonfiction whole texts that students are going to be reading. That's really where the cost is coming from, is the print piece, not the kind of teacher textbook, so to speak. And then examples of those course overviews, and you've got copies of them. These are also all linked on our ELA curriculum adoption webpage down there at the high school section. So the questions for grade 9, like Eileen was saying, who changes the world? And then these are the specific units that our teachers identified as the ones that they would like to focus on. At the 10th grade, how do we determine the right thing to do? That's not a very shallow question. And 11th grade, that's my personal favorite, the what does it mean to be an American? It fits in really nicely with U.S. history that our students are engaged in, also that 11th grade. And then each of those courses ends with an application unit that's titled, What Do I Want to Research? The foundation and application units are shorter than the development units because we're either just laying the groundwork or really kind of digging into that student choice piece. And then as a cost comparison, because we think about adoptions having typically 6-year targets, right? We need time to train folks. We need time for them to implement that before we, pull the rug out and change them, like canceling a product. Not that I'm thinking of College Board here. And some of those products are going to be priced annually. Some of them are going to have subscriptions that we pay in bulk. Some of them we're going to pay for up front. So what I've got on the right is that comparison of kind of thinking about what we've been paying for Springboard over a 6-year time period. So those digital licenses that we've been paying for in high school, again, that's $28,985 that we're paying for no print, strictly digital access to the product. And then our novels, we are averaging $13,083 for novel purchases at the high schools to really supplement, and what we're seeing is the gaps in Springboard and the fact that it doesn't have that same emphasis. That's really looking at, to be clear, what's a typical year. For example, the 2020-2021 school year, that wasn't very typical. We weren't buying a lot of books for kids because we didn't even have them in the building for a while, right? So really focusing on what are those typical years and what would that look like over a 6-year time span. The Odell costs, this is a one-time cost, would be purchasing, again, quite a few pallets of print materials, including all of those novels, would be one purchase made up front, and then we wouldn't have ongoing costs associated with that from a subscription standpoint. A couple of things that teachers are also seeing that they're finding value in from Springboard. They currently have access to a product called Zinc, which is some vocabulary support, some reading diagnostic assessments. We'd probably continue something like that, moving along with Odell, but not needing that subscription to the curriculum vendor, and it's a much smaller cost than buying a core curriculum. I knew that the costs would be close. I didn't expect them to be within about 1%. That was a little surprising to me. So, any questions?
Yeah, I have, oh, sorry, I thought you said David. Well, thank you for your presentation and the comparison of the two. I guess first would be, you did say professional development costs not included, so do we know what that would be? And then as far as bringing, this is going to be a new curriculum for our teachers, what will we do? I mean, when will they have to go through their professional development in order to start this new curriculum? And so that's one. And I have a follow-up.
Yeah. So the professional development costs, again, they're not included here because with Springboard, we really bore that cost a long time ago. We had some ongoing professional development, but not the same as what you'd have when you're rolling out a new product. Typically, when we roll out a new core curriculum, we're looking at, regardless of product and content area, we're looking at a 2 to 3 day training need in August. There's also then the need to capture folks who weren't available in August, often because they weren't hired yet, right? As we have staff changes and movement, and hopefully enrollment going up. So there'll need to be some kind of catch up there, depending on how many new folks we have. And then at least 2 kind of touch points throughout the year. So we would be looking at using Title II funds for that, for teacher professional development. So we don't have a real clear cost because we're not quite sure the scope of what that would look like. Vendors tend to be pretty consistent in terms of how much they charge per day of professional development.
2 to 3 days of PD over the summer is standard for teachers to be prepared to teach new curriculum?
When we've got new content, yeah. So when we were looking at, say, our new science curricula, that was a couple of days in August. I believe that was a 2-day in August, and then they wanted only 1 touch point over the course of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we weren't thrown under the wool.
Absolutely.
And then latest OSPI data for our 2 high schools, one's at 69%, the other's 71%, which is pretty good compared to state average. But so I'm glad that you're looking at the digital plus the print, because I know that even though we're at 71, we'd like to be higher.
Absolutely.
And so just want to make sure we stay in that.
Yeah.
Rare, get into rare air up there. So with reading, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the presentation. I would be curious to know if you guys would like to weigh in on if you have a preference on digital versus print materials when you're learning.
Yeah, I'd say for definitely long form content such as novels, it's definitely beneficial just to have a physical book. It just makes more sense generally. But I would say, at least for me personally, like typing like essays or just answering questions is always a lot more like just enjoyable, like more efficient, just online and whatnot. Can I ask a quick question for you?
Sure.
For the cost, it talks about like how we get Odell in perpetuity, right? Would that include like the updated content as it comes out?
So that would include the updated digital content. If they release a new unit on, I'm thinking of the Romeo and Juliet unit. If they had released a new unit on Hamlet, it wouldn't include copies of Hamlet we need to go out and purchase copies of that. But we would still have access to the digital resources associated with that. If we wanted print copies, we could purchase them through Open Up Resources, which is the printer for Odell, or we can go out and find copies of that, from bookstores.
Yeah. So with Odell, did in the research we knew we needed it, but in the prior to piloting, did you guys contact any other districts, or did we have any teachers who had experience with this curriculum? Is it new? Has it been around a while?
This curriculum, in terms of its history, it's really kind of emerged as a curriculum that was originally developed for the state of Texas. And then it's a fairly recent move that it's become something that's more nationally adopted. We don't actually see the specific Texas version of Odell. We were looking at their national market piece. They are certainly a curriculum that we're seeing other districts and a few states moving in that direction. States love OERs, right? They're an easy thing to kind of get behind and think about what does that look like in terms of updating content. The other districts that we reached out to largely were in the same boat that we were, where they were looking at how long was College Board going to honor their current Springboard contract for. We'd been fortunate enough that College Board had been giving us a pretty good rate for our annual renewal, which is great. Usually districts don't get a good rate when you do an annual renewal. This really hurt us because our annual renewal is up at the end of the month, and then they weren't going to honor it past that point.
And with that kind of upfront cost, including the novels, I know for the last 2 years, the Education Foundation has really has received several grants from various English teachers for classroom novel sets. And through their strategic planning last year, one of the things they identified that they wanted to be able to continue would be helping fund the need specifically of novels, like actual paper books. So I don't know if we have to, is there any wiggle room in the procurement of those and opportunity to have community partners come alongside? Because that seems like something that would be a really nice way for, to share some of that with people who want to help.
It's easy for me to say that I'd love to have somebody else's money help pay for this. I might not be quite the right person to answer that question, though. We did check with the publisher about should we look at kind of bundling and purchasing. So, for example, we have quite a few copies of The Great Gatsby. We've been teaching that book for a while. What if we didn't need that book? We would actually spend more money by not buying that book because we'd be going out to different publishers a la carte instead of getting this bundle. So we're going to save money by buying more books, which feels weird, but yeah. I think it's important to note too that while this purchase would be a novel per student, so they're not class sets at this point. They'd be a take-home book they'd be checking out. From the core curriculum and from that reading list. That's not necessarily everything that a student might want to read. Teachers love doing lit circles. I don't know if Eileen wants to address any of that. And so there would still absolutely be room to have additional novels that are brought in by other partners, even if it was in addition to what we have here.
Are all the books in English, or could it be a possibility that some of these partners provide multilingual copies of the same book?
Yeah, I think that'd be a great thing to look at with our other partners. Some of the books certainly are going to be available in multiple languages. Shakespeare is pretty broadly translated, and yet in some cases, Shakespeare is another good example here. The experience is a little bit different, right? Iambic pentameter isn't quite the same thing if we switch what language we're in. We will also be looking at what will come in this purchase is going to be print copies of all of those. We will also want digital versions for students that's how they really want to interact with it. We'll want to get audiobooks and large print versions for some of our students with disabilities or who just, again, that's just the way that they're going to access text. So that won't be sort of everything for everyone at that point. We'll still want additional accessibility features.
I have a question about the cost of the Springboard cost that you put up. Was that for 9 through 12? our springboard?
So that's just looking at grades 9 through 11. We're currently, our 12th grade English has been doing the comparative media course.
Yeah, okay.
And so this is just the costs for grades 9 through 11. We do use Springboard at grades 6 through 8. And shortly after, not shortly after, sometime after we started the process in high school, but before we had started it in middle school, they did tell us that, well, maybe we could get one more year if we really needed to at middle school. And so that's what we're going to be doing. So those costs are strictly for the high school version, even though we're currently paying for more grades.
Okay, so it is almost apples to apples, because that price is significantly lower than I was anticipating. So then my other question is, given that we have so many different offerings in high school for English, do we know roughly a percentage of students that will go through 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th versus our AP classes? Or
Yeah, so we catch all of our 9th graders,
Okay.
right? So the 9th grade English plus honors, that really catches all of our students. 10th grade, it's a little different between the two high schools, but we're still looking at roughly 2/3 of our students are in English 10, as opposed to AP seminars, the other draw. And then at 11th grade is when we start sort of losing them, so to speak, from English 11, and we have a lot of students who are taking either UW 131, 111, or one of our other AP courses.
Okay.
So these are based on our enrollment as of next year, because we can already see the course requests and looking at how many copies of each of these things will we need, plus some that we're going to hope that we have some growth, and then we have those copies on hand.
Thank you. Question?
So much of our curriculum creates concerns in the community, polarizing things one way or the other. Does this, and I've been looking through the reading list, it seems to create a balance. Is that, and I haven't gone too deep into it.
That's certainly what the teachers saw.
Okay.
From that is there is certainly a balance. Again, keep in mind that there are units in there for better or worse that we wouldn't have time to get to, right? And so we're going to have to be choosing some of those development units. And so the front page that's on your packet, and then also there's a link to that again on the ELA curriculum adoption webpage, shows what are those units and what's the reading list in terms of those long form texts. That folks could look at and see what would a student be reading and digging into in that grade.
Sorry to interrupt you, but are there, this can sound crazy based on what he said, we have some curriculum in our schools that parents can opt their kids out of. Are there similar ELA things that parents can opt their kids out of?
Yeah, you want to take that?
Sure. Both high schools allow opt-out of any major text. We have unit plans that teachers have shared to provide support for the teachers when we have a singleton student that maybe needs to opt out. And I think it's important to go to the first question is, for every answer on the parent or student survey, there was the complete opposite answer. Go all print, go all digital. And so to say that there's not going to be any contention anywhere is not going to happen. But a child can opt out of any text that they need to, and we will provide something. I think both Gig Harbor and Peninsula, we put it in our syllabus to start the year off, and we have those discussions pretty openly. We do try to have the discussions with the families and with the students themselves of maybe why, just so we can get a better understanding, so that when we are guiding them to something else, it is, sometimes it's been a personal tragedy or something like that, and they just don't want to touch the subject matter. But we have always had that option. I was thinking there's like a global food production, and it talks about corn farming and different things like that. That itself can be a contentious issue if you came from a long-standing, American farming family versus somebody that believes in, modifying crops and, feeding the world. Every issue I feel like that we could put up there is going to be a little contentious. I had some great feedback from students to just share an example of kind of moving away from Romeo and Juliet and just kind of the differences that they're seeing in our society today. And maybe it doesn't best represent a 13 and 14-year-old. And, we have the language discussions and things like that with them. But just kind of I hope that we are fostering that they can believe what they want to believe and still read the text. And so I think that there is a great balance, and that was one of our biggest takeaways with the Odell. From novel choices to plays, it was classics and contemporary. And I know some of us had grown a little bit frustrated with Springboard over the last few years because there were certain key text that had not progressed and changed, and we didn't necessarily want to be teaching them as our core text. And so just seeing the variety in Odell was one of our biggest areas that I think we all agreed upon. So I think I answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, you did. Yeah, and I see a variety of different texts in here, from the preamble to the Constitution to Barack Obama's book.
Yes.
You know, so.
I was going to say one follow-up. If you do look at the units, every single grade level has what I would say English today. So there's photojournalism and how photography is a way that we are communicating. Our students communicate in snaps and chats and whatever they are putting out in the world, but that is their digital communication to one another. There is a looking at film studies. So there's a way to really entice, if you've ever been in an English 9, English 10, or English 11 classroom at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it is hot and they are sweaty and they don't necessarily want to always be sitting and studying Shakespeare at that time. So every grade level has a great opportunity for students to see communication and just English in a different light than just reading, writing, reading, writing, reading, writing. So.
I just wanted to make a comment. I was looking through, and I was looking at that global food production, and the central texts in there are fascinating, and they're nonfiction. I mean, there's a lot of nonfiction in here. Then I flipped back to the Alexander Hamilton, where the kids actually get to look at the Broadway recording, which is awesome, and I know that students would really like that. And then I came upon, so I fell in love with this, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. So I'm a geneticist, and that is such a fascinating ethical conversation, and to get nonfiction text and to have the question about the ethical part of that story, fascinating. So like, I would love to come and just listen to students talk about that. So pretty interesting. So thank you. I don't usually get super excited about ELA stuff, but I was really excited about this because I was like, that is really meaty stuff for kids to be able to have a conversation about. So thank you.
I know. Do you guys remember how excited Alec Krishnadasan was a couple years ago when we came out with the new science course offerings, and he just immediately was flipping through trying to figure out his schedule because he wanted to take them all. It's kind of how I feel about this. I mean, there's just some really interesting mix of things in here, and so it looks amazing. I will also say, in tonight's bit of nonsense, talking about the difference between, text, which I also prefer a book, which I usually think makes me old. But I did note that the 12-year-old newly champion spelling bee champion that was just crowned last week was he had a lightning round, and he was doing all these words, and he was actually air typing the words, and that's how he explained his thought, how his mind works. And he was like, I typed them to practice them, and that's how I do it. So everybody learns different, which is kind of cool, right? Like you were saying, you like to type to, that's all.
Outstanding. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay.
This is the first reading.
This is first reading.
Now what? When do we do the second one?
We have you guys on the 18th.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. I miss it.
No, what do we do?
Now what? All right, so now we are rolling on to the approval of the Penmet Parks partnership agreement. Is there any discussion prior to the vote? Is there a motion to approve the Penmet Parks agreement?
I'll make the motion to approve Penmet Parks agreement.
I'll second.
All right, It's been moved by Chuck and seconded by Lori to approve the Penmet Parks agreement. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion is carried and the Penmet Parks agreement has been approved. So you can share that with Ally and we'll hope that their board is doing the same. Oh, great. Outstanding. Okay, well, that's a perfect segue for your superintendent's report.
Yes. So all right. So I'm going to start real briefly and award this board the Washington State Purple Star Award, which was given to us by WASA on Friday. So this is official. There were 4 school districts in Pierce County that received that, and I think we were a little surprised that there was actually an award that came. So WASA came out and gave that award, and I'm very proud of the hard work that we did, and having students going down to Olympia, and that really showed really our diligence. And I look forward to making the Purple Star program here in Peninsula something to really be proud of. So I know that some families have reached out to us, and we are looking forward to meeting with them and just getting better and better. So I would like to give part of my time to Lisa Ray. She has a couple of announcements that I know you've been thinking about, so I asked her to come up and just give some updates.
Thank you. I don't know if I need to move this and make a bunch of noise, but is that better? Okay. So thank you, Kristen. She asked me to come up and share with you an update on where we are with 2 really exciting projects that we have going on. I think it was in December when we came and talked to you about opening our outdoor learning program at Evergreen Elementary Eagle Quest, and we are super excited to talk about where we are right now. A lot has happened behind the scenes. You might not have seen a whole lot, but we've been working in tandem with the Evergreen team to get that up and running. There's work happening on the facility, I think we're getting there. We had 2 positions posted, a 2-3 and a 4-5 position, and we had over 100 applicants for that job, which was really cool. We sat through 2 full days of interviewing, a pretty tight committee, tough selection process, and we ended up hiring 2 outstanding candidates, both out of district right now. One of them was a former PSD employee and is coming back, but both of them have extensive outdoor learning experience. One of them comes from a green school in Virginia, project-based learning, passions for all of that work, and highly capable experience. So it was just a perfect opportunity to find some really passionate people. We are looking forward to, since they're not currently employees, we're just walking through that, how we get them to connect with each other and start that work and start doing a little dreaming. We have some frameworks already in place that they can start with, and then we'll kick off in the fall. In May, well, at the beginning of April, we started reaching out to our previously identified PACE students out on the KP, so whether that was students who were currently being served at Purdy or decided to stay in their home school, and we asked if they wanted to attend, and we got all of those applicants, and we set them, and we said, yes, you're in, that's great, and we filled up half of the classes, and then we opened the lottery on May 1st, and we had over 50 some applicants across the district to fill the remaining spots, and so we did that. With a great mix of Evergreen, Vaughn, and Minter. We were close to having to expand it out. One grade level just had 1 student at Minter that applied, and we were like, if we didn't have that one, we wouldn't have anybody from Minter. So we were able to fill it with Minter, Vaughn, and Evergreen kids, which is phenomenal. That's exactly what it was designed for. We're really excited to get that off the ground in the fall. Lots of work on the next phase is really that curriculum design, starting to build those partnerships, getting the teachers on the ground, right? That's going to be the biggest work. And then the facility piece, getting that classroom space ready to go. Materials are being ordered, furniture's being ordered, all of that is ready to roll. So that's update 1. The second update, which is Carol got to give you a little insight in this before, but we were selected as one of, I think, 6 I'm not sure if that's actually the number, but one of 6 districts in the entire state to become part of the teacher residency program with WEA. And it was a pretty intensive process. We had to meet with them several times. We had a core team of people that we talked about our philosophy and the work that we want to accomplish. And our vision really aligned with the work that they're doing around building the capacity of our special education staff and growing new staff so we can have long-term committed employees here in Peninsula. We have been doing some work. There's a really great team of folks from the Student Services Department, Carol and some of her colleagues, Employee Services, and we met together. They sat through, I think it was like a 7-hour interview selection process. It was really intense to choose the mentors and the residents, the actual applicants. They had to go through a really intensive, do an AI lesson, and they had to teach a class in an AI kind of computer-based thing, and it was a lot. And so they did do it, and we ended up with 4 really phenomenal candidates that we're getting to start working through the hiring process soon. And then they will be placed with mentors in our district, and that process is happening right now. Carol, Dan, and I have been meeting on who those applicants are, figuring out what the rotation is. The residents will spend 9 weeks in 4 different classrooms. So they'll get a mix of gen ed experiences and special education, both self-contained and a resource program. We are looking at classrooms that have very inclusive, open experiences for our students. So students with IEPs are in gen ed classrooms, so they're going to get to experience what that looks like from that perspective too. Really excited to be a part of this work. Really phenomenal that our future teachers will commit to some time with us, and they will be able to earn a wage while they're doing their student teaching, if you will, and really grow this program. I think it's going to evolve over the next couple of years, and we're excited to see how this continues to go. They get to go through some really amazing professional learning all summer, and as a team and a cohort, and it's just going to be really fun to see them grow. So those are my 2 updates. Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, can you repeat how many are there in the program?
There are 4 residents, and 4 mentors.
Okay.
So they just kind of cycle through that, in a little puzzle piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And we're the only in the state?
There are only 6, I think 6 districts in the entire state that have started this, There were 4 last year, and then they expanded it a little bit more. There's a consortium in Eastern Washington that's several little tiny districts working together, but yeah.
So is this just for 1 year, or does it?
This is 1 year.
1 year. Would there be opportunity if it's wildly successful to?
Yeah, we hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
It's a great way to create that pipeline for folks. And
Absolutely.
they will end up with their special education certificate. They won't have a gen ed certificate. They'll have a special education certificate, teaching certificate going forward. So
fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Thank
really
you.
great.
Do we get any funding from anyone from outside the school district?
Yes, actually, the legislature funded this completely. So we'll be picking up the benefit costs, but the legislature will be funding the staff costs.
Okay.
Yep.
And this was the brainchild that came out of a conversation probably 3 years ago that many school leaders and myself, we were up at CTAC and really talking about what might it look like to have a residency program in the state of Washington, because Washington State had not, before this program, had a residency program. Other states have, and the legislature has funded for specific areas, special education, mathematics, science in some states. So it really is the first. And when I knew that we could apply, I told, it's one of those, hey, I have a great idea, we need to do this. And it has been a lot of work on our staff, because we're talking about 4 positions. But if this goes really, really well, this really is a model for success where people will then be retained and feel supported within the system. So special education is, the attrition rate is very high. And so investing in them differently, I love the model. I love, love, love the model. And we have some amazing educators that these new educators can learn from. So I'm really excited.
This has been a great opportunity for Carol and our team to work together and do this in service of the students and staff going forward. When you think about all the work around wellness and retaining our best employees, that's really the desire here. So it's been a lot of fun, and we look forward to continuing to grow it.
It is a win-win. Thank you.
Also acknowledge the breadth of knowledge and experience that our candidates come with. So the requirement for the individual
It's really wonderful. And lastly, I would just like to say that Peninsula High School is getting their fence in.
It's going up.
It is. I know. I saw in the wind and the rain, and I looked over today, and I was like, oh, it's going up. So
We're really excited.
fencing's going on. All right. And with that, my report is completed. Thank you.
Thank you. Lots of good things happening. Okay, board discussion and comments. Laura, you want to start tonight? Let's go down the line.
All right, well, I do not have much, but just want to say I love the end of the year. It's fun to all the celebrations. It's fun to try and go to as many things as we can, and I love the relatively new tradition of the grad walks at the elementary schools. It's pretty cool to see the kids come back through, and I am excited about the new logo. That was the first time I had seen it. I don't know if you guys had seen it before tonight, but so I like all the work that went into that. And then can you explain just real quick, because I know you were involved in it, the state of play, who sponsored that, or who I'm sorry to catch. Oh, you don't.
No. I'm looking.
Just
that report that was done by the Aspen Institute, and I'm trying to remember. The Aspen Institute actually did the report of the state of play, but it was gifted to, I don't know if it was Tacoma. I'm looking at you guys.
Commissioned by Pierce County.
It was the Names Foundation. Thank you. The Names Foundation commissioned it. Aspen Institute performed it, but it was not for our school district. It was for Tacoma area. They did include Pierce County school districts. They invited us, and I was one of the very few superintendents that attended multiple meetings over in Tacoma. So our school district actually gave out the survey to our students in the spring of, it must have been 23, spring of 23. And so it's all posted. What we would like to do is to do a presentation with the Healthy Use Survey information as well as the state of play, and do that as a kickoff in the fall of 24. Okay, was that a good answer?
Yes,
okay, thank you.
To put you on the spot like that. I just was to give it some
good.
context, and I can't remember if we discussed this before because we've had that report for a while. But just in light of the new partnership with Parks, I'm really excited about that because I found that state of play study to be fascinating, and particularly certain the interest from students in activities that really could fall. There's such a gray area. They could almost be PE. They could almost be a club. They could be a private lesson, and just who funds it and what facility in this partnership I think is exciting. The activity that comes to mind is there was a shockingly high, I thought, number of students that were interested in fencing, learning the sport of fencing.
Really fencing.
And yes, not to be confused with the fencing at PSD or at Peninsula High School. I asked her that today. I said fencing or like fencing, but so anyway, I'm just really excited based on that, actually on that report. It's really compelling. So that's so many possibilities, and certainly on the Key Pen as well down the line. So last thing, just it was fun as always to be part of the parade, and I'm always so proud of just the many groups from PSD. As I was walking to our school bus entry, I passed Gig Harbor High School's band, and then that Rising, the band that's the combination of Kopachuk and Harbor Ridge was just fun to see. And then just numerous elementary schools that had, just all kinds of things. I think PSD was really well represented and really well received. Like all the groups were getting just huge cheers. And I would like to give a shout out to JROTC. They had flags and they just looked fantastic, and they encountered a little bit of a unique challenge. And they were so disciplined, and I happened to be standing right where they were, and just handled an unexpected situation in fantastic fashion. And so I was really proud of them. So that's all.
Well, it's probably the first marathon gig I've missed in 18 years, but I was out of town for something, and so I missed it. But it sounded like it was great until it wasn't, and interesting events, as you said. That's unfortunate. But, and then I attended the Peninsula High School Scholarship Night, and I've been really busy, but just not within local area. But that was always nice to see the Peninsula High School. And as always, I've just, from the day I moved here 19 years ago, I've always been super impressed with the Peninsula School District sports teams for such a small community to have. I mean, we used to have national sports. I mean, that we're winning at the national level. So we've always had amazing sports programs, and you know, the fact that they're focusing on academics first is just always impressive. We got amazing staff, national leaders in AI, and the work we're doing around cell phone and social media policy. Overall, the Peninsula School District is absolutely going in the right direction. So really proud to be part of it.
Well, yeah, this is the best time of year, right? I mean, we get to do the award ceremonies, we get to celebrate the success of our students and our teachers and our families. And nowhere was that more evident than at the NJRTC Awards. I could not believe how nostalgic I was getting. It was a little embarrassing. But I think what I took away from that, and it had some, as they say in the military, the esprit de corps, just the camaraderie. I mean, you walked into the room and you could feel it. You could absolutely feel it. And these cadets, and you looked around the room, and they were from, you know, there is no way there is any one type of cadet. They are literally every single type of student. And the love that they had for each other, the respect that they had for each other, and the sense of purpose they had was just so inspiring. So I really enjoyed that. It was 3.5 hours long, but you know what? We went the distance, and it was, yeah, it was great. And then follow up with the WASA Awards, where we got the Purple Heart, and also got to honor our student leaders for the Peninsula School District in front of other districts. Was so nice to see. And then, of course, our Special Education Parent Advisory Council winning the Community Leadership Award was really, really wonderful to see. And we kind of take for granted, well, of course we have this group. Well, this didn't exist, 2 years ago, and there are many districts that do not have a group like this. And to hear the plans that they're talking about moving on to the next level to look, bigger than the district, to state level advocacy around special education is really exciting to hear. I think I'm excited to see where Penmet takes us. I think it is a great first step to, from the facilities nerd side of view, increase our rates of utilization of these massive facilities that are taxpayer funded and are not used as, like right now, they're not completely used to their potential that they could be. I'm particularly interested too, maybe in, back to the anxious generation plug, a little bit of, there's been a lot of discussion around how childhood has become so much more structured and scheduled and adult driven. And I'm wondering if during these in-between times, there's the opportunity to bring Penmet alongside and do some things like there's models in other countries that they talk about. It's not a recess duty, but it's called like a play leader. And so it's someone who helps facilitate, it sounds silly, but helps facilitate unstructured play, right? And so the idea of giving kids more opportunities to navigate those, relationships and agreements and disagreements or things on their own terms without an adult jumping in and telling them these are the rules. Basically recess without all the rules, but making sure making sure everyone's safe. But so I don't know, that would be I think there's the potential with that partnership is really big to try to do some more innovative things. So
that playground thing that we spun it really, really fast.
No, we had a giant stride. It was a pole with metal chains.
And
we would
do this, and it was spin, and I want to bring that back.
Oh, the giant stride was nuts. I mean, it was like a flag of a pole with a rotating wheel at the top and 4 metal chains with handles on the end. And you would run. It was, I got brained in the head by that thing. I don't know how many times, but it's like, oh, I guess my turn's over. Rub some dirt in it.
That's right.
Yeah. I can't imagine, but
Our insurance agent isn't
No.
watching this, is he? Okay.
no more Giants fans. But I mean, unstructured play, right? I mean, I think that is something that, as we've shifted to a phone-based childhood and pulled inside more, there really is something to be said for that. And so,
Yeah.
like to see maybe some thought go into a little, maybe less structure. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, and just 2 more weeks of celebrations and honoring students, and put a plug in to start now. The end of school will be here. Write those thank you notes. Write the thank you notes to our teachers, to your staff, your principals. It means a lot, and I think it's important too, as a little bit of time of reflection on, and to share that with the amazing, team of educators that helped us get to this point. So that's all.
I have to follow the theme and thank the JROTC program. I was one of the speakers at the Memorial Day celebration at the Vaughn Cemetery. And they're always there. It was a day when the wind kind of took over and started trying to blow things over. And so we had to post somebody to actually hold the flag up, one of the flags. They just stepped up. A couple of us in uniform kind of jumped up there and started doing it. Then JR, he just came. So sit down. We got this. But it's great to see them in our community in so many different roles at all the events. The pride that they show. I want to put that plug out there. I assume the capital facilities planning group is probably going to happen next year, probably not through the summer. Yes. And then I just got to mention, I made a little comment about KP parks and the disparities, and I'm excited about what's happening with Penmet parks, and I just want to make sure that gets the whole district. We're unique in that we're divided up into these 2 peninsulas, and it's an odd situation that we're in, the way the funding mechanisms work for the entities that are within those peninsulas. Commercial development funds, it's called an 80-20 rule, and if you sit through economic development, tells you that most of your funding comes from the commercial, 80% of your funding, and 20% comes from your residential. When you cut the line like they've done between the Gig Harbor Peninsula and the Key Peninsula, it leaves a disparity in the funding mechanisms for the entities like parks and stuff. And so they're struggling to get people in there to cover those roles, and I sympathize with them. And the fire department, the same situation. That's how I really became familiar with the problem. And I don't know how you fix it, but it's there, and we have to be aware of it. So as we move forward, and I hope we're going to move forward fast, to make sure we do cover that. So if somebody from the Key Peninsula calls to rent a space, they also can rent a space. Just wanted to express. More shot.
Hashtag. This might be a really great opportunity to help Key Peninsula develop some programming, because I think that's something that they've been trying to do. And if we can provide the facilities for them to do that in, it sounds like it's a win for everybody.
Yeah.
just a couple of things from me. As I've said before, I'm part of the Leadership WASDA group, so every so often throughout the year I get to participate in some 2-day seminars, and this last week we traveled to Walla Walla for an on-site trip. We got to see some of their programs, particularly their preschool programs and then their alternative high school program. It's really fascinating to see what other districts are doing and how they're solving problems. But during the course of those 2 days, as we're touring these cool programs, I would say probably every single one of the school directors there representing districts around the state came up to me in some capacity and asked what our district was going to be presenting on this year at the WASDA conference. And so I talked about what we've talked about, doing an AI presentation. We've been asked to collaborate with a couple other school districts on an AI panel. We're gonna, we have proposed these, they haven't been voted on yet, but another lesson on school board, superintendent, and CFO relationships and how we build out budgeting and transparency. And so I was talking about this, and it was suggested to me by other school districts that could we also please do X, Y, or Z? So people are really recognizing what we're doing, leading the state in our cell phone policy. That was a big one that came up. People are watching what's happening in the news stories around the state, and they are eager to not reinvent the wheel, but do exactly what we have done. So we have also submitted another proposal to have a presentation on cell phone and policy development and board's role and all of that. So it's always a point of pride for me to be in these programs. These are districts, we all look at other districts and see what people are doing, but to recognize and to be standing as a representative of a district that is doing great things is pretty cool. I think, David, you said it, we're doing the right things. We're moving forward and seeking getting a lot of attention for the good work that we're doing. So it's always fun for me to do those events. I wanted to give a shout out to some of the bus drivers that I had an opportunity to spend the morning with at the parade. So I came to the ESC to ride the bus down in the parade with them, and so I learned the best names. So shout out to Rachel, Roland from Poland, Bye Felicia, and Lancy Pants. So the best part is they all have these names. The kids call them by these names, and they are there because they want to see their kids in the parade, and it's so fun to see them leaning out of the bus. Every time they see someone they know, they call them out by name. They've got stories of kids. They've got stories of crazy things that happen on buses. And what I found to be just so fortuitous is we were driving one of the new propane buses, and it wasn't working properly. So having to pull over on the side of the road and do some problem solving, but just the way they handled what could have been an emergency. Now, they did say, try doing this with 50 screaming middle schoolers on the back of the bus, but they were so thoughtful and methodical and safe, and it was another reassurance that our kids are in good hands with people who really care for them and love them. And there actually was nothing wrong with the bus. There was a brake. There's something about braking and gassing on these propane buses that don't give it full power. So bus made it just fine through the rest of the parade, but it was a lot of fun to spend the morning with those people. And then scholarship nights. I just wanted to say thank you to our community. Between the two comprehensive high schools that have these foundations, we gave away almost $700,000 in local money to our seniors. We do this year after year. That is absolutely incredible, and our generous community.
Actually, this was the first year Henderson Bay actually has a scholarship foundation too, so they were able to give away, I want to say, what was it, up almost 20,000? 16,000? It was an impressive number for the first year.
We were aiming for 20,000.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can now say all three high schools.
All three high schools.
Yeah.
And we do get questions, thank you for bringing that up, because
Yeah.
a lot of times people will say, what about Henderson Bay? And I know that the students can participate in foundations for their feeder schools as well. So we certainly are grateful that all of our students are supported in this. So fantastic, and such a generous community that we're incredibly grateful for. And I guess this is kind of our last night with students. Our next meeting will be kind of a celebration of our staff, but all of a sudden it feels like 13 years just isn't long enough. So it's been a joy to be here with our kids and see so many here tonight. As a mom of a senior, boy, it's bittersweet. And all of a sudden you've moved from doing all the firsts and now doing all the lasts that you guys have ticked off with prom and things, really important things like mock crash and all the fun things, the staff-student games. I just hope that you guys soak it all in and enjoy every minute of it. So I'm looking at future meetings, and it's not listed on here, but I want to say our next meeting will be Tuesday, the 18th of June, here at 6 o'clock at Swiftwater. And it's just not on my script. With that, at 9:01, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.